I'd like to welcome everybody to the Logan County Fiscal Court. We'll call the court to order in a few minutes, but just give a brief report on COVID situation in the county. Since last Thursday, we've had 184 new cases as of last night. I did hear on the news last night that in Nashville, Tennessee, 1 out of every 33 people is an active COVID case. I done the math downstairs just a few minutes ago. We got 794 active cases. That's about 1 out of every 35, or just a little bit less people in Logan County got an active COVID case at this time. So we need to remember those people. We also had several deaths in the community. And with all that being said, Jason, would you like to lead us in a prayer this morning?
Yes, sir. Dear God, thank you for this day that you've given us. Thank you for the opportunity to come here together this morning and serve our community and our county. Lord, help the decisions that we make today be pleasing to you and be beneficial to the county and to our community and our citizens. And Father, we pray for each and every person in our community that's hurting. We pray for each and every one of them that's lost loved ones, and just help comfort them and help heal our community of this disease that's going around. And just lead, guide, and direct us through the rest of this week. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, let's call the meeting to order with praise to the American flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, again, it's good to see everybody here. I got several people that I see around the court this morning, and all elected officials. There is a few changes we need to make to the agenda right after we pay the bills. I want to give Terry Cole a little time to give an overview of the emergency declaration with the tornado and how people can receive some response to their needs. And then we need to add item number 6. There's a knowledge audit for the Logan County Sheriff settlement for 2020 taxes between May 16, 2020 through April 15th of 21. And number 7, for us to discuss the need for the Logan County, Kentucky vaccination, testing, and face covering policy. I need a motion to add those things to the agenda.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Now, is there any question? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Howe,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes. Okay, the first item of business, these folders are so thick this morning, I'm going to have to do some digging around myself, is the approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve December 14th, 21 minutes.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Now, is there any question? Okay, if not, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Howe,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes.
Hicks.
Yes. Okay, next item of business is approve the bill list. We did have quite a bill list this time, but if you look, we've done the donations to the rescue squad and to the fire departments in this bill list. Plus, I think there's $180,000 worth of blacktop we're paying for.
Motion to approve the bill list.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Question? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport, Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, Terry, if you want to come give your report.
I'll try not to take too much time, Judge. I just want to give y'all a quick overview of the things that's been going on, and I tried to write some things down, and some of it may not be in order, so if I skip around, I'll apologize, because if I don't write it down, I'll forget it. One thing I do want to ask Jason, how is that working out over on Iron Mountain for the road was raised up? Because I was wanting to go out there, but I ain't had time after our big rain.
Water's still all over it,
But I was just, I wanted to get with you on that, but I wanted to go, but I just didn't have the time to, that's the rain. I'll give you a quick overview of things that we've done, things that's going on right at the moment, and the things that we're gonna do. And like I said, I may get out of order, and if I know some things, because I was just trying to write it down so I would make sure I would remember it. First of all, we had the tornado on December 11th, and then I'm pretty sure all of you know we had tornadoes on the 1st of January also. The tornado 11th tornado was a declarable event. The January 1st one was not, due to threshold limits, even though there was a lot of damage up on both of them. Just to quickly go over, and I'm going to try to skim through it so I don't, and try to keep everything in order with stuff. On December 11th, just for your information, on the first weekend, which was Saturday, it started around 1 o'clock, a little earlier for some, but around 1 o'clock in our area was when the main call out was in that time frame. We had, just for Saturday and Sunday alone, there was over 1,200 hours of volunteer first responders that put in over 1,200 hours just those first 2 days. And going to the the January 1st tornado and stuff, I didn't have a real amount of hours from all of them, but I'm going to guesstimate maybe 200 to 300. But we did have a water issue by the rescue squad that night, and out on Gordonsville, Daysville Road, and there were a few other just helping people get out of water where they got in far, but not far enough. We needed to get boat rescue. All right, back to the, like I said, I'm going back forward, I apologize. But let's get back to the original one. We have already, I'm going to mark off as I go here too, I'm sorry. But we've already, let's see where I'm at, bear with me. Okay, RPA, we've already sent in a request for public assistance. That's what we sent in to FEMA. We have been approved. So the process will start on down the road. We'll start taking care of, getting some funding back to the county through FEMA, which is your debris removal, your volunteer hours, and any overtime hours that the county has procured, like dispatchers and stuff. As long as I can get all the information to me where I can get it put in. All right, now FEMA has come in already to set up their DRC, which is Disaster Relief Center. They're off this week and next week. They'll come back on the 23rd. Once I'm sorry, I had these to read when I look at them, y'all blurred. But they'll be back on the 23rd at 12 o'clock. That's a Sunday from 12 to 6. And then they'll be here the next 4 days appropriately from 8 to 6. Now, if we get to like Wednesday, nobody shows up to come in Wednesday, they may cancel the Thursday date. So we're trying to get the word out. And I want y'all to get out to your people in your areas. Please, even if you don't think you're gonna get anything, come and try it. And that's what I'm trying to get out to people. It's better to come and try for assistance and not get it than to realize after, which would be 60 days, it'd be in the middle of February, I'd have to check on the date from the declaration. But then you can't. To realize, hey, I could have got some help and I didn't get it, because they will not help you after the fact. They got Small Business Association there giving out small interest loans if you need that. The Red Cross has been there, but the Red Cross is not coming back to our county, and they only do a 30-day. So by Friday, the Red Cross won't be able to help them more. So if anybody that you know of that might need some help with assistance, immediate assistance, for funding just to help them get by for a couple of weeks, they'll be at the Sears building in Bowling Green. And they need to check the times and dates, or they can I'll try to I've been trying to keep stuff posted on our Facebook page and do the paper and everything as much as possible. They've got to do it by Friday, because Red Cross is pulling out Friday. Because of they just do a 30-day, where the FEMA's got a 60-day. If you got any questions, please stop me, or ask me. Get the word out, okay, the RPA, I'm just talking to myself. I do want to do give a shout out to our dispatch center, and I happened to be in there at the start of the tornado on the 11th. I don't know how them ladies done it, but they done an awesome job. The phone was ringing, and I stayed there for about an hour just to get bearings of where we need to send people so I could start sending people out. But it was just one call after another. They handled it professionally, didn't panic. I'm just glad I wasn't answering the phone. And I just want to say they done an awesome job. Also, along with things, law enforcement, sheriff's office, and city police stuff, as much help as they gave, and the burning bears were big, and other organizations. I'm not going to leave nobody out, but we had lots of help, and still got lots of help. And, all right, so we're working on one single distribution site, a donation site. As y'all all know, that's one of the big, I hate to put it this way, that's one of the big issues. It's because you've got lots of good-hearted people who want to help, but sometimes you get overwhelmed with what's coming in. And I mean, we've already had Mayfield and Dawson Springs want us to take some of their donations, and we have nowhere to go. I mean, we're full up. So we're setting up at one site. Hopefully by today, we're going to meet this afternoon, and hopefully by tomorrow we can have it. We're set up where we get it more organized in that one specific site. And I do think there's another site out that Russell Lewis got going, but we'll eventually. I think they're still active with it, but once that'll be the one that comes in last, get it all in one location. And if anybody would like to donate, if you wish somebody comes to you like donate, a monetary gift is probably the best thing to do, because we get quite a few items that are expired, especially on food. And there's just nothing we can do with it. We can't legally hand it out. If it's got an expiration date, we got to destroy it and get rid of it.
Okay, that site is where? Or do you need to give it?
Well, I don't care. It's going to be at Brown's Warehouse out there on 431 South. But we're just, if somebody comes out there while we're there, we'll try to help them out. I'm not there much. The Minnesota Association, which I was going to bring a few minutes, have been a big help, and they're kind of running that. And that's what we're meeting with tonight. And we're trying to get everything organized where it's not all scattered, get all the health and beauty or sanitary in one row, food in another row, water in another row. That way people's not just running over each other trying to find something. And but if somebody was to come out there and we're there, they're not going to be denied as far as tornado victims and stuff. But getting back on that Minnesota Association, it has really been a big help. And we're going to, like I said, we're going to meet with them tonight at 5, I believe. But we'll know more about that. Hopefully we can get that open and get a schedule. Right now we're trying to get volunteers, that get them on schedule. Who can work this time period, who can work that time period. And I think I've covered everything. If anybody's got any questions, I know I will like to say that Rodney and myself have put in over, just the month of December, put in over 350 hours just myself, just the two of us. And I don't think I've missed anybody or missed anything. I want to thank the radio station and the newspaper for helping me disseminate out messages to the public. And other than that, if I forgot something, I'm sorry. But if y'all have any questions or anything I can answer for you, just I'll take them right now. If not, I'll let y'all get on with your other business. And thanks for helping all you do for us.
Well, thank y'all.
Thank
Appreciate y'all's efforts. I know it was an overwhelming task there for a while. Appreciate what y'all do.
Yeah, and it just keeps, I mean, we're getting there, but it was pretty, our biggest problem is we need people to come in and talk to FEMA. So please push that out. We're going to try to get it out to all the churches when they have their Sunday service next Sunday. Maybe nobody out there has been affected, but somebody goes to that church might know somebody that was. So if you don't care, if you go to your churches, please have your pastor or whoever, your superintendent, whoever, just mention that.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all, Terry.
I know you do.
I know y'all's phones were, I'd be standing next to you and your phone ring every 5 seconds, so I know you've been hard at it. We appreciate all y'all's work. Appreciate it.
I had taken from the night of it to the following Thursday, 1,000, I checked on my app, 1,026 calls or texts, just on my phone. And I counted what Rodney got. But anyway, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate anything you need, y'all got my number. But please, get the people to come to FEMA and talk to them. Our percentage of who are showing that had severe damage and who showed up to ask for help is way low. I'm talking maybe 10%. So we need to get people.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Terry. The next thing on the agenda is the discussion with Silicon Ranch Solar Farm about ballot offer and discussions about a resolution that the county would have to consider in future moving forward with industrial revenue bonds. We got Stefan Ekman with us this morning again, and I think that's Mr. Franklin.
Yes, it is. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yep. Thank you, Judge Chick and magistrates. So we were here earlier in December just to kind of introduce what we're trying to do for the community through an industrial revenue bond to increase, well, not increase necessarily the taxes, but the benefits coming from this project, because a large portion of the tax revenue from this project would go to the state rather than the local taxing entities. So we came up with this idea of increasing the benefits through a pilot payment. And in the time since the previous meeting, we did work with a tax group called Altus Group. They helped us project out our tax projections, and we were able to confirm that we can commit to a certain amount of $6 million over a 30-year period, and that would be in addition to real property taxes, which would be payable to the local taxing entities. So in that process, we were able to determine that the real property tax revenue is actually higher than what we had anticipated. It's something to the effect of $12 million over a 40-year period in terms of real property taxes. That's assuming a 1% appreciation of the land value, and that the property will be appraised differently because of its industrial use. As far as the pilot, we had hoped that we were able to increase that, but we decided we're going to stay with what we had proposed initially, because we did discover that our franchise taxes are going to be higher than we had expected, as well as the expected tax escalator for local taxes, which we had accounted for earlier. So just wanted to propose the inducement resolution, which would be kind of the first process to essentially preliminarily approve the bond and pilot, and that bond would eventually be issued prior to commercial operations. So before the project is up and running, that's when the bond would be issued. But currently we're gearing up for a state permit, so we just wanted to go ahead and introduce this to the magistrates and the county attorney, as well as yourself, Judge Chick, and see if you had any questions before we move to either a special meeting or regular meeting to discuss the pilot. Do you have anything else? I would just say, just to reiterate, we're not asking for any action on the resolution today. We just wanted to provide.
Pull that microphone over close to you.
Yeah, we're not asking for any action on the resolution today. We're just wanted to provide you a draft so you have time to review it, take a look at it. I would say, just from a perspective of bond counsel, it does three things. It gives the county's preliminary agreement to serve as issuer for the bond. So, I would say if you hire me to represent you, I would say it doesn't bind you. It's not like you can't get out of it later if you're unhappy with something. But it is a good faith expression that you intend to move forward with the bond issue. I mean, I think that's more of a kind of a business matter than maybe a legal matter. But what we use it for is to establish the county's agreed to serve as bond counsel, that any cost they spend between now and when the bonds are issued, we can include that in the bond issue. So it sort of serves that purpose. Sometimes we call it a reimbursement resolution, and that's part of the reason for that. The other thing it does, it lays out the basic terms of the bond. So
The principal amount would be $250 million. Stefan's group arrived at that amount through talks with the property tax consultant group that they work with about what costs should be included, what should not be. So that wouldn't include the land, that's just the equipment and other materials. That would be subject to mostly state taxes. And then the third thing it does, at the end, there's an Exhibit B. That's the pilot agreement format. I've put that together based on the information he's given me that lays out what the payments would be to the county and other taxing jurisdictions. So you can take a look at that and see what you think. One thing I would point out very quickly, they intend to seek an abatement of state property taxes through the bonds as well. That'll help pay for the increased, taxes to all the local jurisdictions. In order to do that, I think we talked about this last time, we'll have to apply for an application to KEDFA in Frankfurt. That's the State Economic Development Authority. One thing KEDFA requires in order to give state abatement of state property taxes is you have to agree to pay the school district 100% of the taxes the school district would otherwise receive. And KEDFA is not interested in trying to figure out if a dollar amount in the pilot agreement is less or more than what than the school district would receive. So I have put language in the pilot agreement called a shortfall, is a defined term, and it basically says that if in a year the payments due to the school district is less than what the school district would otherwise receive, they would make up the difference regardless of the $6 million cap. And they understand that. And that language should satisfy KEDFA as far as the approval. Of course, their intention is to pay the school district more, along with everybody else, but KEDFA is not interested in trying to figure that out mathematically. So that provision is there just to assure that we can get their approval when we do submit the application for the state property tax abatement.
Okay, has the court got any question?
No, of course, the only thing the county, we can do as a body is change the ordinances on the property lines and the buffers and all that kind of thing. We can't tell people what to do with their own property, just like these people y'all have worked out a deal with to lease their property. They decide they didn't want to farm it anymore, so they're going to let y'all grow solar panels. So the only thing that we can do as a body of government has to do with these buffers and the footage. So tell me about, I see this in this correspondence about a vegetative buffer. Tell me what that's about, if you can.
Yep. So before we had acquired the project from a different entity, typically what's used for solar projects is either a fence screen or a vegetative buffer to make sure that no neighbors are adversely impacted by the view shed caused by the solar project. With the language that was included in the solar ordinance here in Logan County, they had required both a fence screen and a vegetative buffer for the full project. And what we were seeing was that a majority of the project isn't causing an impact on neighbors, primarily on the eastern side of the project. So there's a significant portion that wouldn't require a vegetative buffer and would just be added cost to the project without adversely impacting the neighbors. So what we are proposing with the changed language is that any impacts to neighbors within 2,000 feet of the project, as well as any public roadways, would be buffered with a vegetative buffer. And if the buffer is not enough, then we would add the fence screen, which are essentially green slats on the fence. But the full project would be fenced throughout. It's just allowing us to not have to buffer the full project, which would add a significant amount of cost, even though there would be no impact to neighbors on those parts of the project. So that's what we had proposed with the alternate language.
And Tyler, we do have a meeting. I've learned in this that they have two factions of people talking about the separate issues, so Mr. Franklin doesn't have anything to do with that issue. But just for your edification, part of the reason we went with both the vegetative buffer and the slats was because we knew at the time that it was likely there would be that we were
bringing this closer to them, so we wanted to do everything we could to make it, I guess, a visually pleasing to the neighbors of that. So it was contemplated intentionally to have both with that in mind. I mean, obviously, we have our meeting and we can discuss that and the court can consider it, but it was intentional that we put both of them in there because we were bringing the fence closer to them than it otherwise would be by what the law was.
Right.
Yeah, just from the initial look, I'm not interested personally in changing anything in the ordinance, but that's just an initial look. But like I said, y'all want to meet about it. But
And I would mention, there have been some landowners who have indicated that they don't want a buffer because, it would kind of block their view of the sunrise, for example. So currently, the language doesn't allow for a waiver for landowners. So.
And I wasn't stating, I just wanted you all to realize that conversation will probably be coming at a different date with somebody other than Mr. Franklin. He's only here on the bond issue.
Gotcha.
I think you are dual roles on that, though, correct? Correct.
okay.
So I guess while we're on vegetation, so one thing that I would be, that I would entertain would be language that would allow some flexibility, like if the landowner and a representative from the county and a representative from the company agree that a, whatever you call those little slats in the fence is not, first of all, that, there may not be a need because on the east side, is a 1,000-acre, field or a wood line or something like that, and it becomes a maintenance issue. I have a fence that has that, and time to time they're going to slip, and wind's going to blow them out, and I'm sure y'all take care of that. But I'm not opposed of there not being a slatted fence in some areas, But if the language in our current ordinance doesn't allow some means of getting together and all parties agree that there can be an exemption to this area, Part A, all landowners that are visually can see that are in agreement, B, the county's in agreement, C, the company that's constructing the fence or is using the fence doesn't need it. I'm happy with that type of language.
I work for you all, so I will do whatever you all tell me to do. If you all want to change it all together, that's up to you all. If you don't want to change anything and anywhere in between. I was mainly just pointing out the difference in the roles and that if these two things are connected, it would be helpful to know now, but I'm taking them as though they are not. But we, Judge Chick and I are meeting. We can have up to 2 other magistrates attend that call or any other calls in the future. I can think of changes anywhere between none and many if that is what you all want to do. So I'm open to whatever middle ground or no change you all want.
Of course, current landowners might be okay with not having a fence, but they don't. What if ownership changes? Then the future owners may want a fence. Then is that?
That has been an issue I've thought about, and I think if if that is something that you all want to look at, I think they would understand that potential as well, so we could try to write it in that way as well. But again, I'm not telling you all to do or to make any decision. I'm just here to help try to meet whatever your all's wishes are.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, everybody's got a different opinion. I have one around a small fence for security reasons. If it's not seen, so it's likely to get stolen. It's the only reason I got it. Other than that, it's ugly. I'd much rather be able to look through there and see, across that, area. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Somebody else looks through there and all they see is steel poles and solar panels, and they think that's ugly. So I get it, but it would be nice if maybe there was some type of language in there that would allow some means of negotiation on whether
Basic-
some parts could be exempt.
Some type of a waiver process.
Yeah.
If it was,
Okay, that meeting's at 3:30 this afternoon.
that's right, isn't it,
I believe
Stephanie?
it's at 3. Or it may-
Well, the email I got, I think.
Double check with Tanner. We had said 3, but the call-in information Tanner sent said 3:30, so.
Okay.
But just email us back and we'll be here either time.
Okay, this project is on the timeline, there's no question about that. I just want the fiscal court to know that we could have to have a special call meeting to address this. Basically, they've got an obligation with TVA and a time period that they've got to fulfill their commitment. And so if two of you can make that meeting this afternoon, it would be good. And one other question that I've got, I mean, you presented the pallet to us this morning. Not doing this ordinance change could play a part in this pallet too, couldn't it, of some kind?
So what I had mentioned was that the amount that we're, just because the cost of the fence, slats, and the vegetative buffer would go into the overall capital cost, that could influence what we're able to provide as far as the pilot. I think we're pretty committed to at least the $6 million that we've already indicated at the community meeting. But I think we're committed to that amount. So I just think that as long as we're not adversely impacting neighbors, hoping to see if we can get some flexibility on the buffer requirement.
Okay, I understand I've got the siding board could take up to 6 months.
The siting board, so that's their process. So we were actually the first company to get approved by the siting board for a solar project with Turkey Creek, which is a project in Garrett County. That took over 6 months. I think it was kind of the early process, and they didn't have many attorneys with the Public Service Commission on that siting board. But I think since then it's taken about 6 months, and that's what they've posted as the average. So that's why we would like to include that in our application to the siting board, rather than having to make an amendment during the application process with the state. So if there's any questions on
Is there any other questions? I mean,
Yeah, I've got, go ahead.
I gotta do something.
You go ahead, you probably get 2/3 of mine.
Okay, what I don't understand, why are we involved? I mean, why do we have to be involved? In other words, it looks to me like you got landowners out there that's gonna get so much money a year, and then if y'all own it, whoever owns it, I mean, why is that business different than any other business if I want to put something else out there on the land? I mean-
It's ordinance from the county.
It's a county ordinance.
We have a county ordinance, and it's also governed by state guidelines.
State's got something to do with it too.
Yes, sir.
The state passed a law saying it's got to be X number of distance away from certain type houses, property lines, but it gave us the authority to shorten that. We shortened it a slight bit, but when we did that, it was also by shortening that distance, you have to have a fence up with a barrier plus a vegetative screen or vegetative buffer. So that is what our involvement is on that. Additionally, there's a tax issue, and that's what they're talking to us about. And the tax.
Okay, yeah, I can understand the tax like it be any other business. Does the county, are we gonna get any money out of it?
So here's what the money part is, Robert Earl, is that, so if we do a IRB, industrial revenue bond, they are exempt from some taxes on the state level. So instead of putting that in their pocket, they're wanting to send that to the county only if, well, now they're using it as a bargaining chip. So they don't want to give us that money if we don't change the ordinance to save them more money. The other company that owned it before they did was good with the ordinance. Everything was fine. But this new company, they want us to change the ordinance differently than what the other solar company says that it requires, or to save more money. But now they're saying, okay, if y'all do this for us, we'll give you 200,000, but if you don't, then we're going to take some of that away. That's what they're saying. Is that right?
I wouldn't say that the pilot's conditional on approval of the.
Oh, that's the way I heard it. Okay. Sure.
You know, so I think, you know, we're committed to 6 million regardless of the buffer, but in good faith, I hope that because there is no adverse impact, the language could add some flexibility and account for maybe future neighbors.
I got you. Okay.
That was only one question. You got 11 more to go.
Well, I guess that.
He's phoning a friend.
Is it gonna cost us any money? Okay. I start saying, we ain't gonna get much money, I don't wanna pay much money, if that makes sense.
I guess it's a bond question, either one of y'all could answer. If the county, and I mean, we can ask on our end, but being you're here, you deal with bonding issues. One question I have is, if the county does an industrial revenue bond, does that impact our future bonding capacity?
That's a great question. It does not. So there's a couple different ways it does it. Let me say that. First is
Yeah, explain to me why it does.
Yeah, okay, so the first thing you should probably be concerned with is your general, so under state law, you have a limitation on what you can borrow from a general obligation standpoint. That means debt payable with your tax base. So your ability to borrow money on behalf of the county is limited by your property tax assessment. And so, you know, these bonds are revenue bonds. They're not secured by tax revenue, so they don't count against that calculation, basically. So that's the first thing. These bonds will, although they're exempt from state and local property taxes, they are not exempt from federal tax purposes for interest. So often if the county wants to borrow money for its own purpose, you can borrow money that you can on a federal tax basis. You've heard of tax exempt bonds, like in your, say your 401k or in a municipal fund or something like that. That means the interest rate is lower. So if the county needs to borrow for its own funds, it can get a lower interest rate than anybody else for the most part. There are a bunch of rules about that, but that if you issued bonds for other purposes that were also federally tax exempt, could limit your ability to get certain benefits. But these don't impact that in any way. So this is a nice, the nice thing about these is it has no negative impact on the county's borrowing capacity, either under state law or federal tax law. So it leaves things open for you to be able to do what you need to do for the county's benefit without any negative impact.
So is an industrial revenue bond on my balance sheet?
No, well, you know, I don't have a crystal ball, so I can't tell you what some accounting standard is going to say 20 years from now. The way it's always been treated is that at the most you may see a footnote in your financial statements under the debt or liability section that will say the county has issued industrial revenue bonds or conduit bonds for the benefit of Silicon Ranch, but it's not county debt because it's not payable with county funds. It's payable on, you'll lease the property, you'll own the property, lease it to Stefan's company. They'll make lease payments back to you, and those lease payments are the only payments that are pledged for the bond payment. And so it's not payable with county funds. It's only payable with funds provided by his company. So traditionally, it's not reported as county debt, or it's never been reported as county debt. And the way I say to try to give comfort for that is there are literally trillions of dollars of conduit bonds outstanding in the U.S., and that whole structure would collapse if a county or city or any other conduit issuer were deemed to be liable for the debt. I mean, everybody knows what I do, which is no one knows anything about what I do, but when I do, everybody understands that you do this on your good faith, but you're not exposing the county to liability for it. Otherwise, I would tell you not to do it, because I mean, most of my clients are counties and cities, so there'd be no point. So there's no liability of the county for that.
On these, you brought up something that I read in here and didn't completely understand it because I didn't have really enough time to study it. Will those lease payments come to the county for the county to retire the debt, or do they go straight to the bond?
We will assign the county's right to receive the lease payments to the bondholder, which will be his company or a related company. So the county doesn't actually have to be involved in the day-to-day payments once the bonds are issued. And that's the same whether you issue bonds in a property tax abatement context or say your local nonprofit hospital came to you and wanted to do a conduit bond issue. We always assign the county's obligations or rights with respect to whether it's a loan or a lease to somebody else to administer on behalf of the county.
So they're structured that he'll make a payment through the bond.
Correct, right.
It won't come through the county.
That's right. You won't have to.
Okay,
involve
well,
any of the cash flow.
I've read that part in there and that kind of confused me. I knew that I never did know of that happening anywhere. But the only big liability the county would have then if the project failed.
You know, it would, I think what I'll usually say is the biggest concern I would have if I were Mr. Ross's seat is what if somebody gets hurt on the property while you own it? And so that gets to, in the lease agreement, it needs to say that it's adequately insured and that this company will indemnify the county and defend the county if there's ever, you know, a lawsuit for personal injury or something like that. Because if someone gets hurt on the property and the plaintiff's attorney does a title search and sees the county owns it, they may include you in a personal injury lawsuit. So it would be the responsibility of Stefan's company to indemnify and defend the company in that situation, and that's always addressed in the lease agreement. We always provide for that. You know, there's a repurchase right in the documents. If the project failed, you wouldn't be financially responsible for the bonds, but you may be in a situation where you would own the project and have to deal with possible bankruptcy of your state or something like that.
And that would only be in the time period it took to either resell the property or the equipment removed.
Correct. His company would have, you know, a leasehold interest in the project that would need to be administered in that process. So thankfully, I'm trying to think if that's, I think the only time that's ever happened in the state was with the Fruit of the Loom project. I think they had a bond issue outstanding for some of their facilities, and they worked through it at the time and figured it out. But that was before my time as a bond counsel, so I wasn't around to see how they did it.
I think it happened in one other county with some machinery.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's the one I always heard about.
I did have a question once, I guess we started talking about attorney-client relationship. In Section 6, there is a note that it reads to me that the county will be reimbursed for reasonable fees and including expenses of its counsel. That's on Section 6 on A7, and then flipping over to A8. In Section 7, it says it appoints bond counsel, and that would be you all. I mean, I read that to say you feel that you can adequately represent the county's interest in this as well as theirs. Is that what that's meant to?
My attorney-client relationship, I've been hired by Silicon Ranch,
Okay.
so I'll be clear about that. We will give an opinion as bond counsel that says the bonds are enforceable, and we'll address it to the county. So we'll give a typical bond counsel opinion. And I've talked to Stefan about this, if you feel you want to hire a separate legal counsel, I mean, you have the right to do that.
Personally, Tom is saying I can ask on our end. I mean, I'm not an expert on bond counsel. That's why bond counsel sponsors half of the KCO events up there. Typically, when we have a project like this, you come representing us. So if you don't feel you can adequately represent us, I would expect that that line is going to pay somebody at least on the front end to review these documents to make sure they're protected, because what you just said, you know, that if you were sitting in my seat, you know, I see that issue, but I would be concerned if there are other issues I don't see. I appreciate your honesty, because if you had told me you felt you could adequately represent everybody's interest, knowing the reputation of your firm, and I'm sure malpractice liability, I would have taken that. But I think as a part of this, if we're going to undertake it, I would want to exercise that clause to at least provide somebody that we can have our legal expenses covered to get an independent opinion, at least up until this is brought to conclusion with all the documents. I recognize that bond counsel's kind of on the hook for 20 years oftentimes, so if that is you in that scenario, I don't mind that as much, but more just representing our interests in the negotiating process, I think that would be proper if that's if that's all agreeable, that's good to know now.
Yeah, thankfully, I mean, I am going to give the county an opinion on my letterhead addressed to the county that gives all the typical bond counsel opinions. Like I like to say in these deals, you can sue me if I'm wrong, because you will have my opinion.
Okay.
So that's certainly the case, but, and I'm happy to work with whatever your decision is, that's fine, I've talked to the company about it. One thing I feel good about in this case is this is they're trying to do right by the county. I represent cities in a few cases right now where they're being asked to give up everything and everything for one of these. And
Yeah.
so, when you don't feel good about those and they separately need separate counsel, because I've seen city councils and fiscal courts not understand, they're sort of been taken to the cleaners sometimes. And
Yeah.
so it's good to have separate counsel, so I don't ever oppose that
Oh,
or
okay.
complain about it.
I got another question. So, you brought up something that I don't really understand, so I want to get you to walk me through it. Y'all are going to apply for state abandonment?
Abatement, so.
Abatement.
Yeah.
I can't spell, so I can't even read my own.
So
Abatement.
the purpose of the bonds are really, the bond issue is just a means of achieving the abatement of state and local property taxes. So that's why we use the bonds are just kind of the mechanism we have. So the way that, and the way that works is bonds provide us a way to put title of the project in the name of the county, and that makes it exempt from property tax, both locally and for state purposes. And that necessitates the pilot payments, because we want to get the revenues back to the local taxing jurisdiction. Our statutes say that in order to receive the state abatement, though, you have to get the Economic Development and Finance Authority in Frankfurt to approve the state abatement by statute. And so we have to file an application with them and ask them to approve it. One of the things they'll ask for is a copy of the inducement resolution to politically ensure that the local community is on board with the bonds. So KEDFA doesn't want to get in a political situation where they approve something that there's disagreement about locally. So that's another reason for the pilot agreement to be in the inducement resolution. It provides KEDFA a clear picture of, yes, the local county has approved it. Yes, here's the pilot agreement. It shows them everything they need in order to grant the state abatement of property taxes.
So in that process, you said that one thing that they want you to make sure you're covering, or they won't release, is the amount of taxes that would have otherwise gone to the schools, right?
That's right.
So who comes up with that number and that formula? I know you said as long as it meets or exceeds, but who comes up with that number?
The way the pilot agreement works, we say that basically every year the county or they will communicate with the PVA of what the PVA's job, or once the facility's operating, it's actually the Department of Revenue for these facilities to determine the fair cash value of the project. And so that will be applied to the local school tax rate, and then that's the amount that's payable. Just in other words, you need to follow the process every year that you would to produce your local school tax bill, and that's what they should pay. And so I think that's ultimately what KEDFA wants to see. And so we try to draft the pilot agreement in such a way to try to mimic that, to say that's the process that should be determined every year to determine the pilot payment if they have a shortfall or a makeup for the school district.
So would it be fair to say in this assessment, in this pilot right now, that you're assuming that if the abatement is granted, that the otherwise school tax, property tax, the school property tax portion would be $100,000?
I'd have to look at the percentage, but yeah, it would be determined every year based on then current.
But today,
tax
I
rates,
mean, you
yeah.
had to come up with a number today, and today you're coming up with 100,000.
I have to run that through.
What is the 100,000?
It'd be
Well, I mean,
today it'd be 250,000.
30 years, 6 million divided by 30 years is 200,000, and you're saying 100,000 school tax and 100,000 in county funds. So all I wanted to address is the school portion. Are we saying that the anticipated project property tax value applied to the state or the school tax is 100,000? Is that what we're saying?
We're saying it would be It would be less than 100,000.
So how much would it be? That's what I'm,
I'd want to run it, I honestly want to get a spreadsheet and try to calculate it for you to give you the right answer. Because they're also, school districts want to get taxes from the land that's not going to be part of the bond issue, so they'll get that, and then they'll get the pilot payments on top of that for the equipment, portion of it. So we'd want to think about, we'd have to get you a dollar amount for the total payments expected to the tax, to the school district.
I'd want to see that, and then when you have on here school, you have on here, the school tax. Is that school tax only going to the school that's affected in that property's district?
It goes to the district itself.
So all of this is Logan County School District. Everybody knows that. It's not in the city limits. So the city of Russellville School District would not be receiving anything.
Correct.
And is that done by statute, KRS, or is that just done by, this is what we decided the pilot would do?
What we decide is on the terms of the pilot.
So once you get the abatement, is that the right word? Then you're required to, by a dollar amount, or you're required that it's the dollar amount and it's that school district?
They're agreeing to pay $250,000 a year, and so that will get divided out every year based on everybody's respective tax rates for that year. So they're locking in their payments for the first 15 years at $250,000, and the last 15 years at $150,000, because the property will depreciate in value for all the equipment. And then they'll allocate that out every year based on the respective tax rates of the different local tax county and schools and other taxing jurisdictions. So it's meant to kind of reflect what the tax rates are for each jurisdiction each year, how you divvy out that amount. So that's the way it's set up now. We were just trying to think of a fair way to do it.
Right, I'm just wanting to know, is that required by law? Is the law requiring you to?
No.
Well, wait a minute, you said you couldn't, the abatement will not let you exempt school tax.
Well, that's a policy of, the taxes, let me back it up, the taxes are abated by the fact, there's no taxes payable in the school district by the fact that property is placed in the name of the county. But it's been tradition to always make the school district whole in Kentucky as long as these have been done, because no one wants to short kids, basically, is the view. Now, in the last quarter or so of 2020, CADFA made an official policy. They used to just ask if there was a pilot. They didn't ask any more than that. In the last quarter of 2020, because of all the solar projects in the state, they made an official policy that they would not grant state abatement unless school districts were made whole in the pilot agreement. Because some bond council are trying to get cute and come up with arrangements. The problem is some bond councils say the SEEK allocation of funds, they get, how you level out funding for schools will make up for things if you take property out of the tax base. So they try to get cute and not make pilot payments to schools. And CADFA's reacting to that, saying, no, if you don't pay school districts 100% of what they would otherwise get every year, we're not going to give you a state abatement. And so that's the policy's been put in place. So they've sort of made official a long-term tradition that's been done. So what we've done here is set out, Stefan has told me, let's pay $250,000 a year and allocate it out. We think that's more than the school districts will get because they can't tax the bulk of that, of the equipment that's subject to only state tax. But we're just putting in that hedge that if in any year, for any chance there would be more due to the school district, that we would pay that, he would pay that amount. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of the step-by-step logic.
No, it totally makes sense, and I apologize if I'm asking redundant and stupid questions, but I just got to get it in my head before I can make any opinion on the pilot and provide any input for the 3:30 phone call. So, but I guess I'm still just a little unsure of your answer of, and there's a reason I'm asking, and I'll get there. Does it have to go to that? So this is all, first of all, it's all new revenue. When people say make whole, it's new revenue. So, the property owner is still paying property tax, period. Matter of fact, they're gonna be paying more property tax. So I don't want people to be confused that the property owner, because we're not the property owner, even though we're doing an industrial revenue bond, we do not own the land, okay? Property tax on the land, the physical dirt land, is still being paid, and it's gonna be paid more. So the current revenue that the schools and everybody else that's getting is gonna be the same or even more.
Or even more.
Okay? We just have a new piece of equipment that's now gonna be sitting on that land that we're gonna subject to taxes, and how we're gonna handle that will be determined if we do industrial revenue bonds or how we do it. So it's all new money. So when I go back to the school tax, I'm just curious, are you, by that, what's always been done, that's now been kind of made official, does it tell you, not only do you have to pay this tax, but you have to pay it to the school district that is represented where that piece of equipment is being paid?
This is a reasonable guess. I think CAFA would require that we pay to the school district in which the project is located as a minimum. If you would like to require it as part of negotiations, a portion of it, of what he's offered to be paid to the city school district, you could do that. But I think CAFA will require that the county school district be made whole.
Okay. And so here's how I look at that, okay? So I look at that this is a unique situation, you know, such as industrial revenue bonds and this pilot and the whole 9 yards, but it is the stronghold of the whole county, okay? We have 2 school systems here, okay? You are standing a little bit on the shoulders of that city school system. I would like to negotiate that a portion, and I have no number, I would love to see your formula and your spreadsheet to see how all that's divvied out, but I would love to see the city of Russellville school district get something. They are part of the county, and you're standing on the county's ability to issue a industrial revenue bond. That's just my opinion. I don't want to, it's all new money. Now, if it was pulling money out, I would have a different opinion. No, you're taking away the Logan County school system's money, you know, by this abatement, and you're wanting to make it whole, but we're not doing that. We're bringing in new money, and we're doing it on the shoulders of the entire county. And because we have 2 school systems, maybe Tyler knows better proportionally the number of students and all that. I'm sure we can come up with a number, but if it's $10, you know, that's $10, but $10,000, I mean, I'm sure the city of Russellville would be happy to receive a $10,000 check every year for something, you know, so.
And I would note that the lion's share of tax revenue from this project will be in the form of real property taxes. So 12 million of the 18 million over the 40-year period will be split between the regular taxing entities. So, you know, that kind of lends to your argument that maybe for that additional 6 million in pilot, maybe a portion could be allocated to Russellville.
Yeah, because they're not getting any, you know, because all the rest of it, like you said, is just going to be going to the county school system because there's nothing in the city of Russellville there.
So I think we can, as long as we provide for the full payment to the county school system, we can divvy out the rest that's available whether you want to negotiate. So that's, you know, that's just a matter of contract, basically.
Would that have to be in the inducement resolution, or is that something that could be?
Probably in the form of the pilot agreement, we could put in how they decide they want to do it. Yeah, so I mean, and that's within the county's, I mean, we would request to be able to allocate the right amount to the county school system to get the state property tax abatement, but the rest we can allocate as the county advises, you know, if needed, so.
And we're just assuming,
It all happens.
well, we're just assuming, you know, that if we don't change the ordinance of the vegetation thing, that the fence don't cost $200,000. And if it does, then there is no discussion.
I'm not following you.
I'm not either.
So if,
I don't think the fence has anything to do
He
with
said
the,
he's committed to the 6 million regardless of the
Yeah.
fence outcome, so.
no matter what happens with the fence thing. I don't think
So
it's
if we don't-
one.
if
We don't approve the fence thing, this has nothing to do
Okay.
with the issuing the industrial revenue bonds and their willingness to enter into the pilot and allocate the $6 million.
I thought I heard at the beginning of their conversation saying that, you know, that
It's gonna cost more.
it's going to cost more to do if they can't, if they have to do more fencing, then that could change the 200,000. Is that what you
That's
heard?
what he heard, that's what he said.
Okay.
I can't speak to that.
No, essentially, we're committed to the 6 million. That's what we've indicated at first. The reason we weren't able to move up from the 6 million, through the projections from Altus, we know there should be an increase in franchise tax, and the tax escalator for local taxes can be higher. So I think we're committed to the 6 million regardless.
Regardless, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's how I heard it.
Okay,
It did go up from 6 million because after re-looking at it, the
Okay.
franchise tax was gonna be more.
All right.
That's what I
I might go
heard.
back and listen to your recording.
Yeah, because I heard it the other
Well, I
day.
appreciate it's a lot of information.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
still need to, understand. I would like to see the projection on the school tax. You know, I don't really care, you know, in this pilot, you know, I just want to see what y'all are saying, that had we run this through normal tax rates, this is how much the equipment is going to be valued at year one. I understand there's depreciation, but year one, here's what it is. And this would have been what the school property tax on this would be, would have been. That just helps me understanding proportionately, you know, where we can move the numbers.
Okay, we can do that.
Yep.
Sorry.
Okay, which, either one of the, I need two to be in that meeting with us this afternoon.
I just don't know that I can be there. I haven't planned out the rest of my day, to be honest with you. I got a customer to meet, and unless something changes, I will be there, but I can't tell you 100%, so. And I've got my head 2/3 wrapped around it, but if somebody else wants to attend, y'all can fill me in, or I'll
Guess I'll be here then.
Judge, I think the 3 o'clock conversation,
When is it?
about the fencing issue, that I have a medical appointment.
I'll talk to you.
Do what now?
I have a medical appointment this afternoon, so I think the 3 o'clock call is focused on the fencing.
3:30 is what I got.
3:30,
We weren't expecting
Okay,
you to
I
be
just
there.
wanted to
They
make sure.
had made that.
I didn't want to surprise anybody.
They had made that.
Yeah, if it's
Okay.
a fancy-
Y'all keep
Okay,
saying, and I don't want to drag this out too much longer, y'all keep saying that the county has no exposure to this, even with the industrial revenue bond, except you did say Fruit of the Loom and Bowling Green. Is there any ties for us being bound to this industrial revenue bond for any obligation to the county? But you did mention Fruit of the Loom.
Well, you would, I mean, in all fairness, you'll own the property during the term of the bond issue. So, you know, like I said, if there's an accident or something that happens, while it's owned by the county, Stefan's company will be obligated to defend the county if the county were sued, like in a personal injury lawsuit, just because you happen to own the land.
We don't own the land. We
don't
only
own
own
the
the
land.
equipment.
Well, that's how we get the property tax exemption. We put the equipment, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we don't own any land.
Right.
don't own the
I'm just
land.
used to saying land, just done that 100 times. The equipment, if there was something involved in the equipment and they found out it was filed in the county, they may name the county in the lawsuit, and Stefan's company would be required to hire you counsel to defend you without any expenditure of county funds and take care of that. You know, the bankruptcy question is what happens if this company files bankruptcy while the bonds are outstanding? I mean, that's always a complex question. It's difficult to answer. It would just have to work through the bankruptcy. His company would have an interest in the leasehold interest. It would have a right under the bond documents to pay the bonds off at any point in time during the 30 years if it needs to. But I don't think in that process there would be any cash liability on the county's part. I mean, you wouldn't owe anybody. You may have a hassle to deal with in some sense, but you would not owe any money on the bonds as a result of that. There's no debt service obligation owed because he files bank. It's not like this company filed bankruptcy and then you would have to make up the bond payments. That's not in view. It just may be, if something happens in this company, there'd be a need to terminate the lease, stop the bonds, and let his company deal with their bankruptcy.
But now, are y'all gonna be bonded for this project, though? Don't y'all have bonding insurance to bond this project?
We do have bond insurance, and the project will be fully insured for personal injury or anything that happens on the project.
Welcome to ask any due diligence or questions you feel like you need to ask. There's no, we're not trying to see how anything. We want it to be a mutual beneficial relationship. Have you all been comfortable?
Well, I mean, I think it's been a long time since we've issued an industrial revenue bond. Judge may know better than me, but I don't think this court, we've not issued a industrial revenue.
We haven't. I think the county had one thing back in the 80s or 90s with something to do with the landfill.
Okay. Did we do one for Auburn Hoser Mill at one time?
No.
No, it was, okay. Anyhow,
I
mean,
think the city did one with the Emerson building and Rockwell building when it was built.
Yeah. All right.
Appreciate it,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Happy to answer any questions in the meantime, if anybody wants to contact me.
Okay, thank y'all.
I'd like to get you my email, that way you can just email me when you get that worked up, you know.
When did this meeting come about? I didn't, did you?
Card on me or not?
Okay, we'll move on to the treasurer's report.
No. Oh, is this his card?
No. You need to think
In your
about that.
folders this morning, we have the financial statement ending December 31st, 2021, as well as the finance officer's appropriation condition report, outstanding encumbrances, and the third-party financial statement for the Public Properties Corporation ending 12/31/2021. As of December 31st, the balance in the general fund was $2,305,354.00. Road fund, $132,517.43. Jail fund, $66,229.60. LGEA, $79,259.42. Federal grants fund, $54.67. Solid waste recycling, $562,930.77. Parks and Rec, $500,358.54. Occupational tax, $6,915,055.86. Life skills, $153,511.29. 911 fund, $34,365.65. Health insurance fund, $347,109.96. ARPA funds, $2,634,149.25. Special reserve, $4,184,319.77, for a total of all funds, $17,915,216.21.
Move to approve as presented.
After I found it, I almost.
Yeah, we've been over here searching.
It was on the other side.
It was on those.
Second.
Okay, we had a motion, we had a second. Acknowledge the treasurer's report. Is there any questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes.
Today, in your folders, you should also have a copy of a budget amendment that we need to have the first reading of. It's ordinance number 02-222001, amendment number 2. This is to amend in unbudgeted receipts realized from the Commonwealth of Kentucky. It will increase revenue code 074504 federal grants by $200,000. General fund 014733 insurance reimbursements by $571.87. 911 Fund 754733 insurance reimbursements by $4,463.99, which will increase expenditure code in the general fund 0150153440 sheriff maintenance vehicles by $571.87. 911 Fund 7551453440 911 vehicle maintenance by $4,463.99. Federal Grants Fund 075340-578 CDBG utility assistance payments by $184,000. And Federal Grants 075340-902 CDBG utility assistance administration by $16,000.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Is there any questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Holden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Today, you also have a list of budget transfers in your folders that we need to get approved.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion second. Questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Holden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
And today, I have 4 cash transfers for you. We need to transfer $200,000 from the occupational net profits tax fund to the road fund.
I make it.
Second.
Okay, got a motion second on the cash transfer. Any question? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Holden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
We need to transfer $85,000 from the occupational net profits tax fund to the jail fund.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion second. Now question on the cash transfer. Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Holden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
I need to transfer $10,000 from the occupational net profits tax fund to the LGEA fund.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second on the cash transfer. Question. Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Holden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
And I need to transfer $35,000 from the occupational net profits tax fund to the 911 fund.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and second on the cash transfer. Question. Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Holden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
And that's all I have for you.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Judge, I got a question for you. Got a question for you.
Okay.
On our CDBG Utility Assistant Payment Program, we're administering that through which group?
Community Action.
Community
And Brad.
and Brad?
And Brad's got, they decided on a fee. They wrote the grant. They got to make sure the grant's fulfilled. They got to work with Community Action to make sure everything that they do is up and legal.
Okay, so we have the funds. When will funds and how will funds be administered to Community Action? Like, we're not just sending them $184,000.
No, we're not sending them $184,000. I think the way it's set up, Thomas, they get a fourth of it, and then we have to request the other fourth if they complete it.
And is there a timeline for those funds to be dispensed? Like a
No,
meeting date on it?
You're asking a question I can't answer there. I'm sure it is, that it's a time period that they will cover. You know what I'm talking about, and I don't know that
No, I'm
there's,
just talking about, you know, like 12/31/2022, that all the funds have to be dispensed, and then also what happens, do we have to return the funds that aren't used?
if it's anything, if we get to the point we can't don't spend the funds, then they won't disperse more to us. One, first thing that happened. Second thing, the community action and Brad will have to show proof that the fund was spent proper, and then there will be a payback, you know, if it's not dispersed.
And are those funds available now? for
Not
people to
yet.
apply?
Not yet.
When will that be available?
It's according to this budget, if if Department of Local Government approves this, and we don't see an issue with it, such as a grant through the state of Kentucky, most time we got to have the check in our hand. You know what I'm talking about? We can't pre-budget money that we're expecting to receive, you know, in a budget amendment. We can do that during the budget cycle, you know, if we think we're going to receive something. But we can't, unless we got proof that the money's coming, they won't allow it to be amended into the budget.
So this has to go to state and this budget amendment and be approved by them, and then you can start dispersing the funds.
As soon as the funds are available.
I mean, we have the check, right?
No. The only thing we got with this CDBG is the agreement from the local the Department of Local Government. And we voted on that agreement at the last court meeting. And I think I put a copy in your folder if you want to look at it, from the last court meeting. And, but the same person that allows us to do this amendment is the same group of people that's in charge of the grant.
So I guess you're saying the 200,000 federal grants, the actual money has not been received yet?
No.
So I guess I was confused why did we do
What
a budget amendment?
What we're doing in this budget amendment is preparing for it.
Okay. All right, I got you.
Right, Amanda?
Yes. We typically aren't allowed to amend them until we have actually received it, but because this is through DLG and we do have those documents, they are gonna go ahead this time and let us amend it in prior to receiving it.
That's what was really confusing me, because you normally do not do a budget amendment until you have the cash in hand. So I assumed you had cash in hand. Okay, thank you. Appreciate you clarifying that for me.
Okay, any other question while we're on that? Okay, road work request, Tyler.
All right, District 1, out on Muddy River, some breaking off on the sides of the road right there by the big culvert. I think we talked about it already, and of course out on Slim Collins, we talked about that too, about getting some ditches out there for them to help the water disbursement. So other than that, continued maintenance, appreciate everything. Thank y'all for all the work with the snow removal. I know y'all was busy.
All right, District 3, just continue maintenance, and then that pothole on Joe Valley, you know about. So thanks for all the snow removal. Continue maintenance.
District 4, same thing. Keep up the good work and just continue maintenance.
Same thing, District 5. Do a good job.
District 6, continue maintenance. Thank you for getting that tree removed for me.
Okay, y'all heard the road work request. Any questions? Okay, do we have a motion to approve them?
I made it.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and second. Question now. Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes. Okay, elected official, Mary. Okay, Steve.
So acknowledged.
Second.
Okay, got a motion to acknowledge the sheriff fee report. And a second question. Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
I've come across the issue of purchasing tires. When we did the bid process, it was basically with Firestone tires. Either vendor that we have cannot get those. They cannot find them, we can't get them, they don't have them in stock. So, but they have Goodyear's, which is the only other tire that we can use on law enforcement vehicles. So I talked to Joe a little bit yesterday, I talked to the auditor as well on that. We can get the Goodyear tires at the contract state price like we were Firestones. But I would need to get court's, I guess, approval or acknowledgement of doing that.
And this would be only one Firestone, one available.
Yes.
If they become available, we'll go back to the county bid.
I didn't realize this. You mean Firestone and Goodyear's the only ones at the state?
Do state contract on, and that they are a law enforcement type tire. They're designed for law enforcement vehicles.
Oh, okay.
So,
Is it a tire I can just go out and put on my car, or is it a special one?
honestly, I guess you could buy it as a public as well, but
I think the concept would be that I guess those are the two tires that are
regular.
reliable enough that they want you driving like police officers sometimes have to drive in them.
You don't need that tire. I beat you to it.
Yeah.
All right, so what's the,
Gotta have tires.
I think just to vote to approve to allow him to buy Goodyear tires with our two bidders when the Firestone tires aren't available under the bid, something along those lines.
And I did check with, I got the state contract price list that it's on there, so.
Okay, we probably need record of that down there with Hannah.
Okay.
I put what Joe said in the form of a motion.
I'll second what Joe said, Tyler.
Okay, and the main thing is that our clerk got the motion.
Yep.
Did you get the motion, clerk?
That hand's been moving.
more or less.
That hand's been moving 90 mile an hour. She got it. No underestimator.
Okay, is there any discussion? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Yes.
I appreciate it. That's all I
That's a
got.
true statement, Tara.
Thank you.
Okay, you got one thing later, so, okay, Phil.
Thank you, Judge Chick. Good morning, Court.
Good morning.
Hello.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, as of today, we have a total of 177 individuals in our jail. 103 are county inmates, 74 are state. Starting to gradually pick up on our state and generate a little more revenue.
Might be getting $4 more a day too, is what
Well,
I
that's-
read.
It's a possibility and a hope. Hopefully
Senate.
it'll be.
That's all we got there so far, just the possibility that the budget bill will pass with that language in it.
Yeah, we can hope it happens. Every little bit helps. Are there any questions?
How y'all doing with COVID?
Got one employee out with it, as far as inmates, and we don't have any.
Good.
We don't have any. Our policy seems to be working.
Do y'all still vaccinate if a inmate wants vaccinated?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, that's great.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, glad y'all offered that.
Well, I'll say the health department does it.
Right,
We,
yeah.
we notify them. But if an inmate wants to be vaccinated, we certainly,
Phil, what is control intakes? What is that?
Lock the door when they bring them in.
it's people, that most of them have been already,
Well, I know she got 7 of them. I don't know what it means, what that means. What?
they've completed their process and just waiting to be classified. So they're classified as a controlled intake until they get classified by the Department of Corrections.
Oh, okay.
Okay, any other questions for Phil on this? Okay,
Thank you, Court. I guess I'll be hanging around to open those bids up.
well, we'll have that maybe pretty quick,
Okay.
okay?
Thank you.
I know today's gonna be a long court meeting. Scotty? Y'all wanna go ahead and be looking at a fee report on the way up here?
First thing, we need to acknowledge the December fee report.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, did we have a motion?
Motion and a second, yes. sir.
Okay. Okay, I didn't hear that, so, okay, we got a motion, second question. Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Bright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes.
Before you, we have our 22 budget that Gabby has put together for me. What we normally, I explain to the court every year just briefly, we have to present a budget to the fiscal court. This is not our budget that we operate off of as far as the fiscal year being fee pool. This is the budget that we have to operate on that goes to the Department of Local Government. Each January before the 15th, the sheriff and I both have to do that as a fee office. What this will reflect is for your budget as well as the state's budget through the Department of Local Government. They'll use these numbers. Now, this is not an actual number, this is an estimate. So what you see in here from last year to this year, you're going to see a 5%. We normally use a 3% buffer. That's what we've been using. But with some things that have changed over the last year, we foresee this year to be up just a little bit. So we used a 5% buffer on every one of those line items that you see here on the intake and the outgoing disbursement. So I just asked for the court to acknowledge and approve this for the 22 fee budget.
So acknowledged.
Second.
I think we gotta approve it.
Approve it, yeah,
We
we're
gotta
gonna approve it
approve
this time.
Approve it. So
Okay,
approved.
and we have a second?
Yeah, a second.
Okay. Okay, is there any questions? Of course, this will probably have to be amended at the end of the year and amended when we, do our budget, so.
But we do that for auditing purposes. We'll keep up every quarter, because we usually get it acknowledged to the court to send to the Department of Local Government as we move through the year. But towards the end of the year, we'll probably have to amend it, but just have to do it as we need to.
Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Bright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Just wanted to make the court aware, this past month, I got my, for the upcoming election cycle, of course, in the House Bill 574, which was the election bill last year. Once the county board of elections put together a plan, we have to send that to the state to be approved by the State Board of Elections and voted on by the state board. So we have done that. We will have 5 locations in Logan County that are approved for early voting, and will be one for early voting, which will be the new armory here in the city. That'll be for the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday before the election on that Tuesday, the 17th. We'll have 4 additional, a total of 5, so it will be Adairville, Lewisburg, Auburn, Logan County High School, and the new armory will be our 5 locations. The way we've set it up is you can head in any direction and go to any one of the locations as a voter. So we just feel that it will give the options more, the voter more options, and
You can do what? We say that.
you can go to any one of the 5 locations, Robert. So if you were leaving Auburn, and let's just say you forgot to go by Auburn, you're already in Russellville, you can stop at the new armory.
Okay.
If you're heading north to Lewisburg and you forgot to go to one of those 2, you could just go on to Lewisburg, so you're not having to double back. And because in the past, we've had specific locations that each voter had to go to. In the new law, we were able to open it up to where any voter can go to any precinct. And,
Well, what's gonna keep me from voting in Auburn and then on the way to Russellville, stop and get it, vote again?
Your conscience.
Well, so to answer your question, we'll have poll pads, the iPads that you signed in on the last election. They will be working live. So as you sign in at one, it's going to communicate
The other.
live back to the other.
How much I be here, but I just
In the
wondered
vote-
that.
No, that's a good question. In the state system, so it will be updating simultaneously. And
Other words, if I voted in Auburn, when I come to Russellville, when I went in, they could pull it up and see I just voted.
yeah,
Okay.
and if you happen to do that, it's a felony charge. It is a crime.
Yeah.
But we will be able to keep up with that through our poll pads. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Lost one.
Okay, we'll move on then to Department Head, Ginger.
I don't have much today, other than we have been really busy. You know, with Kentucky weather, if you have 4 seasons in 2 days, it kind of puts you busy. We are officially only 3 full-time positions short. I promoted 2 of my part-time people to full-time.
Awesome.
And we are in the process of going through applications again. The 2 that I have put full-time will be going to the academy probably within the next couple months. And to answer any questions, the radio equipment held up pretty good during the storms.
What, I said, you're gonna hire additional people, if somebody retired.
Oh, no, we were 3 people short,
Oh,
still full-time position short.
oh, okay, you was already short then.
Yes,
I got it.
no, we don't have anybody retiring just yet, maybe in a few years, but
What about the generator?
they're working on it. I know we have been getting the specs and everything together, checking on stuff like that. Derek's been working on it. Hopefully we'll have some. PSK did come down. I met with them and we got everything where they could see exactly what they needed to do down there. But so far, so good. One step at a time. We're moving forward.
As long as we're moving forward.
Mhm.
Just keep moving forward.
That's all right.
All right.
And I only have, I have one out sick right now with COVID. But she managed to keep it just with her, or I mean, in her family.
In her family.
In her family, so we're good right now.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for all the hard work.
Thank you.
Okay, Nathan.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I had several things in there, so we'll just dig into it and get through as fast as we can. I included in y'all's folders a list of all the recyclers and haulers to be permitted this year in the county. And if you had any questions on that, that's what that's for, so that everything was clear on that. I did inspect one yesterday. I wanted to kind of get it going, and America's Sustainable Pallets just right across over there, and everything seemed okay, checking them out, and so those need to be approved by the court, so I wanted to present them for approval.
I make a motion to approve the Logan County permitted recyclers and haulers.
Or just the one. It's just,
Okay,
no, those are just the ones that are kind of pending. I just wanted to get you, as you know, for
He just wanted to do
reference.
sustainable
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, I'll
But
make a
yeah, it's
motion
just
to
the one.
approve America's Sustainable Pallets.
Second.
We have a second? Second, Barry. Okay, questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
High,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
All right, and I included also a recycling report for the last month leading up to now. And we had 22 bales and some paper, so we're trying to keep it busy. Had some holidays in there, but trying to keep it moving. And we did send off a load and got that taken care of as well, so it's moving right along. We do have a sheet also in your folders for the recycling that was done in 2021. We had 136 tons. I put in there, it's an increase of 26% from 2020. So,
Yeah.
if there's any questions on that. And if not, I'll go on to the litter report. So it was requested that I put up some signs and check on those dumpsters for the storm damage that were provided by Scott Waste, the roll-offs and the site, so I've been doing a little bit of that as requested. As far as the December litter report, I included that from the detention center crew and one nonprofit group and myself, and we picked up 13.6 miles, 204 bags, and 13 tires. I'll have a yearly report next time on that. So I'm blazing through it, so, but I did want to just bring up one more time. I know it was mentioned at the last fiscal court about the possibility of extra money for the litter cleanup of the affected areas by the tornadoes, and I just wanted to present that. I did talk to some groups about that, some of the all-star groups, if you will, I think would do a really good job, and a couple weren't interested, I guess just due to the, the winter time temperatures, but there were some others who definitely were. One that was biting at the bit to get out and do it, so I told them I'd get back with them after court today when I heard how y'all felt about that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still, whenever you can noticeably see, I think there's more debris that's accumulated on the side of the road after, all the trash being blown around and stuff. So, I think it'd be a good thing to do just for, but we have to set a time, we just do it, maybe the one time and then see where we're at after that one time. And if it looks like things are cleaned up better, I think we just do it at one time.
Would this be limited to the areas affected or all over the county?
Man, we had high winds all over the county. And well, Nathan picks the areas.
I do, yeah. Is there, if you're wanting to do the whole county, you say one time, are you looking for, sometimes depending on the number of groups, it could be a while before we got through a lot of roads. So you're saying it could be, better part of it, this year.
Yeah,
So,
I think maybe if you did an assessment of the areas and see where the need is the most from all the wind that we had and everything, and then just get us a list, and then we could, I don't really know how to set that number until we know, maybe the exact areas that you would like to see some extra cleanup on.
Let me hear this again, exactly what we're talking about.
We talked about the last court meeting about doing since all the storm, the high winds and everything, we was gonna maybe do a special cleanup. We usually have where they pick up the trash on the side of the roads, the groups, organizations, and being that after all the high winds and storms, we was going to do a one-time thing where, since there's more trash, to offer $1,000 instead of the $500 one time in some spots that are maybe a little more dense because of all the storms.
Okay. We'll need to carefully check it, because we picked up quite a bit of that debris
Right, the road department has been working
As
hard.
far as
so-
the road department,
As a rule, how long does it take you all to pick up the 4 or 5 miles?
Does it take a group to pick it up?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Usually they'll do it in a day. They'll have a day that they do. Sometimes we'll give them like a weekend to get it done in. They'll start on a Friday and then on Saturday, but usually it's a day that they're picking
A
up. that
full
5
day
miles.
that on Saturday, is that right?
Usually.
Only
yeah.
depends how many is hitting too.
I'm sorry.
Only depends how many is out there, I guess.
Yeah, it does, yeah. If it's a small group, it takes a while. But if it's like, some of them have like, 20, 25 people and it doesn't take that long.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
What did you, when you was discussing it with them, what number did you tell them that we was gonna do?
50 or $100 extra a mile is what we had discussed.
Okay.
So,
50, or that's what I was thinking, it was 750, but I don't.
yeah, that
Well,
was,
we mentioned 1,000, and then we brought it back to maybe like 750.
Okay.
the state will only,
50% increase.
the state will only approve $100 a mile. That's the
Okay.
max
And
they'll
then we
do.
would have to pitch
We'd have to.
50.
I got you.
So,
Okay.
so I just want to make sure I was clear on that. Are you saying just the tornado, the wind affected areas, those roads that would be, let's say, Buena Vista or Homer? Is that what you're saying? You're saying everywhere?
No, I'm thinking.
I'm thinking where the affected areas.
Okay. Okay. Because, I have some in my head. Do y'all want to designate those to me, or are you going to give me latitude, or do y'all even want to do this?
Yeah, we want to do it.
I wanna do it, I mean, if you already know how many areas, how many areas, if you.
Of course, I guess just describing the tornado went kind of like this way, and all the roads go this way, so it won't affect necessarily the whole 5 miles of a road, so
Yeah.
that might be something to consider.
They'll get their work though in them areas.
Yeah.
I think it.
Still do the 5 mile, there's still trash within the 5 miles.
Sure, absolutely.
They can go out there every week of the year and pick up trash, people still throw it out the windows, but,
Oh, yeah.
I'd see how many volunteer groups you get, and then focus on those 5 or 6 roads that we know is the worst, and go
Yeah.
from there.
yeah.
Okay.
Also, I'd like to check somewhere right out there at Walmart on the old Holland Lick Road. where-
It's
And
always
that is-
bad there.
That's
It's always
terrible.
bad. Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
We need to try to get that, if somebody will clean that up.
It's terrible where though.
Walmart right by Murphy on be the north side of Walmart parking lot.
Oh, okay. On the roadway, you mean?
It's plastic bags mainly.
And I've talked to Walmart and Murphy about working on picking it up, and they tell me they will, and I think they maybe do a good bit, but we've had the detention center crews helped out with that, we've had some nonprofits help out with that too, so,
It's real bad again.
okay. Did y'all need to approve this, or y'all just want me to tell them it's okay, or?
I guess we would have to approve the additional $50 per mile, since that's not, that's gonna have to come from somewhere.
Okay.
Whether it's, your budget, I don't know if you have in your budget or not to do that, or,
I guess
or,
we can
you know
come
what
up
I'm
with
saying,
something.
we'll come
We
up.
come up with something, can't we, Amanda?
We can come up with something.
We do. Depends on, it really depends on how many.
Right.
We take the,
Just say
within four roads, we'll take care of about all of it.
I would
the
just say
final.
up to 5 different areas initially, and then if you come back and say, we still have some trouble spots that we need to hit, then we could up it another 1 or 2, but for now, we can just say 5.
So that's only $1,250 more.
Right.
so what the court's talking about is another $50 per mile.
What did you, I'm sorry.
That's definitely doable in that.
Okay. So, yeah, I'll make a motion that we, to approve the extra $50 a mile incentive for up to 5 areas that were damaged, from the storm. Up to 5, $50 per mile incentive.
5 to 250
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
1,200.
With a 20 mile count.
Oh, yeah, I got you, yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay, the motion was to approve the extra $50 up to how much?
5, up to 5 locations that Nathan deems as extra trash being there from the storm. And then we'll just stop it at 5. So it'd be it won't be no more than, what was it, $1,250.
That's what I said, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Y'all have heard the motion, and I've already had a second, right?
Jason seconded.
Robert Kyle seconded, didn't he? No, Jason, okay. Okay, questions? Okay, let's have a roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Okay, well, that's all I had. Anything else y'all wanted to?
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, Kelly, you got anything this morning? Okay. Jack, I noticed you walked in. You got anything to report to court?
No, sir, I'm just stopping in.
Good to see you.
Okay, well, good seeing you, and I just noticed you walked in a few minutes ago. Okay, for judge's announcement, we couldn't find a whole lot. If y'all know of anything, we'll need to add it to the list, but we did get a thank you letter from IDA for the funding for the second quarter of 21-22. And other than that, we didn't find a lot going on in the community right now, other than it's restoration time. Okay, with that being said, if nothing else is y'all aware of, citizen participation. We got a few citizens here this morning. If you would like to address the court, we ask that you come forward, state your name, some vicinity of the county that you live in, and we ask that you do this at this time. And I know King Simpson sent me a note yesterday that he'd like to address the court. And King's in charge of the library.
Morning, Judge, members of the court, good to see y'all.
You're gonna have to take that off so I can hear you.
Oh, sure, yeah. All right, is that better?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm actually here this month. It is on behalf of the library, but January is National Radon Action Month. I know y'all are thinking, what does the library have to do with radon? But just to give you all some quick background, so radon is a naturally occurring gas. Of course, we know that. It comes up through the soil and in the air and gathers primarily in homes and other buildings, and our senses don't pick it up. So it's a health threat for us, and it's higher in Logan County than it is in a lot of areas because of the geology. It's the second leading cause of lung cancer. In never smokers, it's the highest leading cause of lung cancer, and if you're exposed to tobacco smoke and radon smoke, of course, your risk is that much higher. So the library is partnering with the University of Kentucky College of Nursing and the Breathe Group, which is also from the University of Kentucky, on a research study. It's called Radon on the Radar. We've been doing a little promotion at the library, so if you all follow us there, you may have seen that. But I want to talk to you guys today and just make you all aware, and hopefully, so you all are aware for yourselves and your families, but also so you can help inform the community. We're offering these kits, which our partnership has made possible. It's an electronic radon detector kit that you can check out at the library. So I'll show you what that looks like real quick. So there's a little detector, it's got a screen on there that will show you the numbers for your home. Of course, it comes with batteries. It's got instruction sheets on how to set it up, how to interpret your data once you receive that. There's also an optional research study with UK that's available. So they provide us with 25 of these kits. You can check it out at no charge for 3 weeks. You can go to any of our library locations and pick one of those up. You test your home for 2 weeks, so you've got some time to research it a little bit before you set it up and time to get it back. But these are available. Of course, this is the only way to know if you've got radon in your home before it's too late. So we just want to let you all know about this. You all are welcome, of course, to come in and test them out yourselves, but also encourage folks that you all know to test your home. It's really important, and it's when you get that low level back like we did at our house, it was peace of mind, but certainly we want to do everything we can to keep our families safe. So since it's Radon Action Month, there's an action step you can take. Doesn't cost you a dime. Just come by and pick one of these up.
That's a great service
keep
to
your
offer.
family
That's
safe. And I've got a flyer if you guys want it. It's got some of the information.
You just don't think about it.
Yeah, it's something most people don't think about, like I said, till it's too late. And, somebody gets lung cancer and they're like, well, I've never smoked. How did I get this?
Yeah.
Well, it could be
In school, we saw the map in
Yeah.
western Kentucky.
Right.
It was, I guess, because of the cave system,
Mhm.
is what I've always.
That's my understanding. So there's there's a lot of factors that go in there, and I'm not a geologist or a public health person, either one, but it is high in our area. There's 4 counties that UK is working with: Christian, Logan, Pulaski, and Rowan. So those have all been identified as areas with higher radon. But so there's some citizen scientists they're working with here in Logan County already that have been doing long-term testing, but then for the rest of the folks that want to make them aware that we have these kits at the library, we're going to be doing continuing advertising. We just started offering these, but the folks that have used them said they're really easy to use, and they just felt much better knowing their numbers. If people agree to participate in the research study, there's also some additional funding if you need to do mitigation with your home. So if you do test and have a higher level, you can apply with them for some funding if you qualify to help offset the cost of that equipment in your home.
Is this something that, when you take it in your home, is it going to show up immediately if you do have something?
So it takes, it starts doing some calibration. It takes about 24 hours before it starts showing you any numbers on that screen. But you'll notice, of course, you can see sort of what the screen looks like there on that picture. So you'll see the short-term number, which is your sort of active number right now for the last 24 hours. And then your long-term average after 2 weeks, that number pops up. Because you're going to notice that fluctuates quite a bit. I guess it's, weather changes and that sort of thing.
All right, now that you said that, if I took it outside and left it, it's going to read different from in my home.
Sure, right. Yeah, it's coming up everywhere all the time, but outside it, dissipates. Where in the home it sort of gathers, and that's why you get the higher levels. I know some of the folks, of course I don't know the folks that have been participating in the research study so far. I don't know their name and their, who had the high levels. I just see the unidentifiable data, but there's been some that have had really concerning levels, and I've also seen some that have used that funding to get the mitigation done in their home, and their level just, drops drastically. It's amazing how effective that can be. They even have been working with some local companies to try to get additional people certified so that they can qualify, because they have to be certified to do that radon mitigation, so that they can get that funding. They have to work with a certified radon mitigation specialist. So anyways, just a really, really great program. We were glad to be a part of it here in Logan County and to make that available to our community. And so we just hope you guys will obviously take advantage of it yourselves, but also help us get the word out. If you know folks that you'd like to see, be aware of that program.
I think it's great. Appreciate you making everybody aware of it.
Absolutely. I won't take up any more of your time unless you have questions, but thank you all very much.
Thank you for the information.
Thank you, King.
Hey, Judge, under the announcements, Congressman Comer's field rep's going to be at the Caldwell House today from 1 to 3, helping people with any type of federal issues like Veterans Affairs or Social Security. So he'll be there 2 days from 1 to 3 o'clock. That's the Caldwell House on 6th Street.
Okay.
Congressman Comer's field rep.
Okay, is there anybody else in the court, Ernie? Good to see you here. If you'd like to address the court, we ask you to do so at this time. Or anybody else. I don't know who this gentleman is.
That's Alex.
Alex.
Who is?
Alex with Hudson.
Oh, okay. Alex with Hudson. Okay. I do know who you are now. Okay, the next item of business is discuss the bid for a self-contained board unit for the road department.
Well, Thomas, he put a spreadsheet together I never could open up, but.
Oh, that's right, you told me you couldn't open it. I don't know what the deal was.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. That was helpful.
Well,
I guess I just.
I'm a visual learner. If I don't put it side by side, I can't put it
I
together.
went on the website best I could, inspected it all out, and done what calling I could.
Yeah, anyhow, I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me, they're pretty comparable, products. Didn't see a huge difference in them. The Momax, had a little more horsepower. One thing that I could confirm, I'm assuming both do, but I could not confirm that with the Mantis. The Momax had a high-flow hydraulic pump. I would assume any type of equipment that had a rotating rotor and all those things, I would assume that they both have a high flow, but I could not confirm that with the Mantis. And then some of the pressure rates and things were a little different, but again, all that was on the spreadsheet. They were, really, the length of the boom and the size of the rotor, on it, and the weight of the machine was reasonably close to one another. I mean, one was slightly heavier than the other. Not nothing that was crazy that might make you think, well, hey, this would be a little better because it's a little heavier machine. I think when you're reaching out 20 feet, you'd want some weight. So, anyhow, I know there was a consideration for Hudson's with a trade-in. I personally, and again, I'm just speaking for myself, I'm not even on the equipment committee. I just did that.
Janice,
upon
did
my
we
own.
advertise that
But
trade-in?
I would not recommend us
We are
trading the,
trade-in? No.
Okay, we didn't advertise trade-in, that was just an offer.
yeah, right, they offered
And,
that, and I
so-
appreciate them doing so, but
If we,
it's not my recommendation.
if we, was to do trade-in, we'd probably have to advertise it that way.
Yeah, I'm not interested in trading in the tractor that we have. I have another idea about that tractor, that we can discuss that a little later. We can finish discussing about the Momax.
Like I said, I appreciate you putting it together. It was, helped comparison, but I guess I'll take the equipment committee, whatever recommendation they have,
Kelly, you need
I'll
to
support it.
discuss anything, or?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, just Kelly need to get up, say your piece.
He said, I think he
Kelly just wants one.
He just wants one that'll work, right?
Which one do you think, Kelly?
He's gonna make us make that decision.
He's gonna leave it up to us.
He said Momax.
He said my mind. Okay.
Well, he's the one's gonna be using it, that's the reason I'm saying that.
That's I lean to that one too, with doing all the study and the specs on it. And I know there was a little consideration about being in Florida, but they do have technicians in Ohio, southern Ohio. And just the people that we've talked to, there was an outfit that had one of each. And with talking with them, they were leaning on Momax a little bit as well. So that's going to be my recommendation. We go with the Momax. I'll put that in the form of a motion. And I don't think we want to trade in. We just keep that one right now. There's another need for that tractor, and I'd like to see us hand it over to the airport when this other one comes in. Would be my thoughts, removing the mower off of it and letting the airport have that tractor for their maintenance tractor.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, the Momax, is that the one that John Deere proposed, or the other?
No, it's the one out of
It's the one out of Florida.
Florida.
It was the low bid as well, not by a huge amount of money, but it was a little lower.
Around $4,500 lower.
197, 950, 150 was the bid.
Yeah.
197, 950,
Okay, well, here it came from Matt Max.
Yeah. Well, the Momax is the actual boom mower. Atmax, I guess, is the company.
Yeah, AdMax is just a
Now, okay, now,
equipment-making company.
So you made a motion recommending the Momax then?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Robert Earl, second.
and I second it.
Robert Earl seconded.
I know
Okay.
that's, Kelly said that's a little rough on his budget this year, so we'll have to adjust that because we've already purchased one tractor.
Probably won't be here until next year anyway. We don't know from there.
Okay, let me ask you. Now, what we're talking about now, it don't have that deal goes on the end and eats up everything, does it?
No, we'll have to do that on the next budget.
Okay. Well, we're gonna need to get that before it's over sooner or later.
We can do that on next year's budget and still have plenty of money.
I hate to have 200,000 in something and when another 20 or 25,000, you could complete the job.
It's 22.5 is that grinder head, but like he says, we would like to probably add that on next year's budget.
Oh, okay.
There was not a discount to get it now. It was pretty much a set price.
Okay.
And I think we'd like to do that on next year's budget.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion, any other questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes.
So,
Okay, four.
I got a question though, I guess somewhat related to Barry's recommendation, which I assumed was part of the motion, but this tractor that's got the boom on it, the 6110M or whatever that's got, I know you have two of those tractors, one you use for bush hogging, one's got that boom arm on it, and that's the one Barry's talking about. Once this piece of equipment comes in, I think that one has like 2,900 hours or 3,000 hours or 3,100 hours, something like that. I mean,
When it first went down, it had 2915 on it, but now they've run it since then.
so 3,000, nothing like the other one. The other one's got 6,000, 7,000, right. I would like to see that, I agree with Barry, I would like to see that one that has 3,100 hours on it. You know, once you get this piece of equipment, take the mower off of it, service it like we do, and turn that over to the airport. I mean, that they're in a need of a tractor and a bush hog, but this is the most expensive of their two needs, and maybe somebody else or through selling their other tractor, you know, that they could
Well,
purchase a bush hog.
that decision can be made later. We're gonna be waiting for this for quite a while.
No, I want to make that decision now.
We did make the decision.
That was my understanding. Wasn't that part of the motion?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I think
As
so.
soon as it comes in, but then when.
Yeah, no,
when
turning it
comes
over
in-
today, but when it comes in and they don't need the tractor and they take the boom off of it, service it and turn it over to them. Or,
You did say take the boom
Yeah.
off of it.
Yeah.
yeah, they don't want the boom. They have no need for that boom. It's nothing but trouble and a liability for them.
So we'll have to, we'll surplus that. over.
We'll surplus that boom.
Well, the tractor, we'll have to get it out of our inventory and move it over to them at some point.
Either surplus it or sell it to them for $1. Okay, all right. I just want to make sure I understood what we were doing, that we weren't going to have a discussion about it later. Okay.
Yeah, they really in need of it, and as much as the airport means to this county, we need to help them out with that obligation, I think.
Well, I appreciate that. It sits in my district and but I know y'all all go out there and they recognize that. When I talk to them, they're always appreciative of all the court support and, that's not, some people have it in their head that that's just a hobby area, and that's not the case.
That's not the case.
I mean, yeah, some people do recreational fly, but there's a lot of business that goes through that. So,
And if you don't go out there, you ought to.
Yeah.
It's clean, man. It's spotless, neat, and they do a great job running it.
So the other question that Robert Kyle brought up about that grinder head, Kelly, could you and/or the judge find out the lead time on that grinder head? If that grinder head, I'm just making a number up, if you call and say, if I order this grinder head, when am I getting it? And they say August, I mean, I think we need to put our order in now with a requested August delivery date as opposed to waiting till July 1 and you get your new budget and then you go ordering that and they tell you it's April of 2023. Okay,
I'm
if
gonna
you
send
could
him a
find
text
out,
now. I'll send
you know, then I don't see anything wrong with making a commitment to put it on order with the understanding that it's not going to be paid for until the new budget year.
I agree.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going, like you say, we waiting all
Yeah,
over
that's
again.
right. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, we
Might
did
not
that
get it like we
yesterday.
said this year.
Man, I'm like
We'd have to put
Robert
out-
Carl. I'd like to see both of them come at the same time.
We'd have to put out a quote for it.
You will for that?
Yeah.
Even though it's under 30,000?
You won't have to request bids, you'll just have to get 3 quotes.
Oh.
We'll have good quotes on it.
Is it
And
not
at that bill.
proprietary?
How would you get 3 quotes on a piece of equipment that only,
Makes it from this company.
yeah, I don't know, it's,
Well, you got to put it out there,
yeah.
and you have to do your best to get 3 quotes.
Saying that only one was available for this specific piece of equipment.
Okay.
And we satisfied our one.
Right. And I guess it would give, if there were distributors,
Exactly.
it would give them an opportunity. If there's one in Oklahoma and one in Texas and one in Tennessee, it'd give them all an opportunity to quote. Well, I would inquire about that and let's move forward. If they say, hey, I got one on the shelf, that's a different discussion. But if they tell you, hey, we're 4 months out, I'd be getting my PO ready and send that joker out
Your
March
motion
1.
said District 1 takes priority over all the other ones on getting stuff done, right?
Don't think so.
Oh.
We're gonna have a thing running, though, that it'll take care of itself. He goes where it needs to go.
Judge,
That's
before we
not
get
for
into
county.
the next thing, we've been a request for a break.
Request for a break. Well, I was going to ask the court too if we could open up the bids for the commissary, and that way Phil can take them and look at them. And
Yeah, we'll go ahead and open, then we'll take a break.
Then we'll
Give
take a
Phil
break.
time to
set
look them over.
that way, I mean, if he's got something he needs to do with, they can be doing it, or if he wants to stay, he can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we got two bids on the commissary system at the jail. I might need your advice.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, we gotta go back to number 2.
Got one here from Kelwell, and it looked like it, Phil, they just sent one copy. What I'm looking at here. So we'll pass it around, let the court please view it. And,
I got one in true.
I was getting ready to say, you got
if you
one
want
not
to
too
look
long
at it
ago.
through and see
I was
what
there
the
when it-
offer is on it.
Matter of fact, Alex is going to get it.
And then we got another one from Tiger. I'm sure it'll be dealing with percentages and stuff.
Close idea of either one of them being. Which one?
Does Joe, you got a copy in your office? Is there a copy on this floor out here somewhere?
We do. How many are you needing?
You tell me you think
There's only one
a
copy.
or not?
I don't know.
Y'all gonna just send them a bill?
Yeah, probably. I don't think so. Thank you, though.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to get the food,
Of course.
our food supplier and our commissary account mixed up. So
Yeah.
this is for commissary.
Yeah.
That's who we get our
That's who
food.
we have.
through.
That's who does our-
That's who
yeah.
does our food.
Who fed you Thanksgiving dinner?
Tiger currently.
No, no, they came on by the time Phil.
About time for you.
Phil came on.
10.
Thank you.
Phil, they one of them. There's 5 of them.
You can have mine. Let me just look, see what
Software support. Do we need to do this today, or do you need to look it over?
We probably need to do it today, it's up the 23rd of this month.
Okay.
And I'm gonna need a few hours to look at it. You know, so.
Okay.
Give me a few hours to look at it, once y'all get, look at it, then I can.
You'll come back at the end of the meeting.
I can.
What the hell we doing?
Look at it.
the commissary
It's got
account
it broke down in there,
at the
but
jail. So like
take
when
hours to go through
people
it.
come in, want to give money, like if you knew somebody that was incarcerated and like you wanted to take them $20, you could do it through this program here. It keeps up with all the detained people and how much money they have to account, and then they can use that money to buy things that they need while in jail. Socks,
Okay.
T-shirts,
We didn't start doing this until
food,
you were
you know, if they
jailer.
want to buy a bag of chips.
We didn't start doing this
Right.
until you were jailer, right?
Now, anything above that, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, Phil's
you're
the
gonna
one
have
that
to
put
get,
this in
Phil
place.
to
To
explain
take
it.
cash out of it.
Joe, do you have any recommendations what we do? I mean, we'll be dealing with percentages here instead of an actual bid.
It's all right.
I mean, we put it out there, and so I think we just, it's always what's the best deal for the county.
Hey, Phil, I never thought about this. Do they smoke in the jail?
Okay, well, we didn't read anything.
Well, I didn't think they would.
I was saying that.
Looked like if somebody was gonna be there for a month or two, we'd pretty well kick the habit, don't it?
Well, they don't sell drugs in jail either, but it don't get that heavy.
Yeah.
Well,
You want to give Phil my copy? Oh, has he got one? You need 2 of them?
That would be nice.
Yeah, just go take mine.
Yeah.
Come back at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
there, I don't.
Okay, we,
Anyway,
if we're gonna do this, you wanna talk about it at the next court meeting?
I need to do it this court meeting, because
This
the
court
contract's
meeting?
up the 23rd.
Okay, we'll act on it later then.
Right.
Okay, okay,
We'll review them.
We should have.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, well, we'll probably be here a little while.
Yeah, thank you for it.
I'm a Supreme.
Are we taking a break?
Yeah.
Taking a break.
Yeah, let's take a break.
Taking a break.
She might be ordering her
Here she
lunch.
is. Hey, Judge, we're going back to item number 2 on old business. Is
Yeah.
that where we're at?
We'll have to do a special call.
Tyler, you gonna be able to make that meeting this afternoon?
No, I probably won't be able to make that. We're back on. We're back on.
Okay. Okay, we can get everybody back in their seats. We're gonna move on.
I'm gonna do my best to come.
We're gonna be here so long, I'm gonna have to, I got some stuff.
Did you turn this back on, Tyler?
We're on.
Yeah, we're on.
Yeah.
We put out a request for proposals for broadband expansions in the county. And the item of business this morning is to discuss those proposals for those broadband expansion projects.
You have the grading sheets, Judge?
I've got, no, I don't have them up here, but I can get them real quick.
We don't need them.
Okay, we don't need them.
We put out a process, so I'll go ahead and explain it, that we put out for an RFP, and we did have a grading process, along with, the committee, and, what's the girl's name?
Amy Frobe.
Amy Frobe. We met and we graded each one of them, and really, all of them scored good out of a possible 160 points on, and the electric plant board and Pennyroyal both bid on area B, or sent a proposal for area B, and then we only got one proposal for area A, and that was from Pennyroyal.
So, yeah, we met, and of course, we've been in discussions about this for quite a while. We put out 2 different areas, Area A and Area B. Area B is some areas within, closer in the city of Russellville and the outskirts of that. And Area A is basically the rest of the county.
Okay.
And like the judge said, Area A only had one response, and that was with Pennyroyal Electric. Area B, Pennyroyal and Electric Plant Board did put in for Area B. And I'll let Thomas talk about that, those 2 little spots. We did mention that to both
Just put it down there in front of Barry so y'all can see it. So this is the map, A and B. You'll notice that I highlighted in yellow 2 little pockets, which I would say would be northeast, kind of the center of Russellville. They are technically in area A, okay? So, which area A is pretty much everything south and a little bit northwest.
Technically an A.
That is technically an A.
Okay.
All right? But after, and let me tell you what generated that. What generated that was census maps data. That's how we came up with this map to determine, hey, what's A, what's B. So, because of census maps, it came up with these 2 little pockets, and actually we put that in area A. After reviewing the maps and where things are currently located, it makes sense that those 2 areas go into area B. Yes. We met with both bidders separately, not together, separately. We met with the EPB first and brought up this pocket right here, and they agreed that, not only did they agree, they were in hopes that that would be considered Area B, because it makes more sense for them. I think they said there was about 600 potential customers in those 2 pockets. Pennyroyal.
No, I think 600 something's total.
Oh, total in Area B, I'm sorry. Pennyroyal, we met with them separately, and if you look and read through that proposal, there's one price to do Area A, and then there's another price if you include those 2 pockets, because they kind of like, hey, we was undetermined if this was A or B. So they would like to have it, but they understood. We said we would like to make this area big, and they agreed and they understood, so they are fine with that. The other discussion that we had with both of them is what I wanted to make clear was, now that we agreed that this is Area A and this is Area B, the green portion is what is being served by Logan Telephone, and they do a fantastic job. So this will get us 100% covered. I did not want to ever get into a situation like a little pocket. There was a little pocket over here somewhere. It's not showing. Yeah, right there. See that little spot right there? That's Area B now. I said, I don't want to ever get into a situation that somebody says, we're not serving that. That's technically not our area. If somebody, and you'll notice my X, I showed Penny Route. If somebody builds a house right there, and we move forward with this project, it is not acceptable for you to tell me you're not getting them service. And they agree. They said, absolutely, we agree. Likewise with, electric plant board. Put you an X anywhere you want to in that map area geographically. If somebody puts a house there, you're going to get them service. And they agreed. They said yes. And so I said, that is the only way I'll commit any funds. I don't care where the funds come from. ARPA, state, federal, out of our front pocket. I was not committing a dime unless we 100% geographically had all of Logan County covered. And they agreed.
Logan Telephone is not bidding on none of this.
They did not. They had what they currently have and some future projects that they're
They already have
on.
they already have a business plan, so they're deploying their fiber over a number of years, and I don't think they have a lot of years left. But where the areas where they still have some copper and DSL, they've already got a business plan in place to do that entire project. So they didn't, they didn't have the need. But one thing that when talking about the areas, one thing that we might need to make sure we have a conversation about, this could be down the road, is if, one of those areas, say somebody develops a subdivision, and the subdivision people say, okay, you're required to put it underground, and you're sitting on a rock. So as part of the subdivision approval process, there needs to be that discussion had with the subdivision board and the developer, that something's in place that says, okay, well, you got to make sure you have conduit. If you're putting conduit in for electricity, make sure you got a conduit for fiber, if you're required underground. Because that could, it'd be hard for us to say, if somebody built a subdivision of 30 houses and the requirement was all in ground, on rock, it'd be hard for us to say, okay, ISP spend $300,000 on getting it in the ground, So I think I don't think that's a deal breaker or a huge problem, but it is, I think, definitely a conversation needed to be had with the subdivision board that handles that process, and to make sure that is in their radar, that we make sure that's taken care of, because I can see that being the only problem. But like Thomas said, both Electric Plant Board and Penny Ryle in their areas, they put in for us that they will 100% provide internet services to those areas if we commit, our part of it. And our part of that, I don't know, I'm sure y'all seen that, but our part of that was up to $1 million in the area B for EPB, and I think it was close to the same with Penny Ryle. May have been like $975, I can't remember exactly, but $950 or $975. And then in Area A, our only bidders were Penny Ryle, and it was $3.5 million. So I think what we can do today is, and I'm hoping that we can do today, is to go ahead and award these areas to those different ISPs, and then after that, we would then start the discussions of the contract. But we need to give it a little time because of funding. And we've talked about this before. We don't want to spend $4.5 million of our ARPA funds if we can get most of that paid for with state funds. And we've also still waiting on to hear from that NTIA grant, and supposed to hear about that this month. I don't know. So, and that's Area B. The NTIA grant that we partner with EPB is Area B. So,
How much was that grant?
I don't remember. Yeah, our part was like,
No, our part was 150.
yeah,
And electric plant board was 150.
yeah,
But
it's
I
like,
think the
it was a
total
10% match. I
Diane,
think it's $3 million. Or was that right?
I thought it was 1.3 million, and it was a 10%. Logan County was taking on 5%, and EPB was doing 5%. So that would mean it was $1.5 million project.
I don't remember
But-
total, but.
I could be wrong.
Okay, now, we can't co-mingle this ARPA money with a match. That would be county money.
Right. We understand that, yeah. And I'm still good with that too, Either way, even at the end of the day, we apply for state funds and we don't get NTIA, we have ARPA funds to cover it plus some. We still have some left from that. So we can work out the funding. And according to Amy Fro or PAD, they said that the next round of funds from the state are actually applied for by the ISP and not by the county. So they will ask for those funds, not us. Is that what you understood as well?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Have we asked for funds yet?
So,
Yes and no.
yes and no. So, Penny Ryle did ask for the first 50 million, and it can only be spent on economic development. And by the time the map that they had in place for that Ardolph auction or whatever, by the time they started the process, no, they did put in for it, and then it got rejected, right?
Yeah, so that Ardolph, man, this thing gets, you're talking about a can of crap.
Yeah.
So I don't know how deep y'all want to get into it, and I don't know how many pizzas you want to order, but that Ardolph took Logan County map based on data of, and Tyler can tell you, 25 meg up and 3 meg down or something like that. They developed these pockets that couldn't meet that, okay? So that's pretty low speeds, 25 megs down and 3 megs up. Our bid is for 100 and 100. Our spec that you got to provide 100 megs up and 100 megs down. The Ardolph auction spec, which comes through the FCC, was 25 up and 3 megs down. And so then they went through all of the United States and they developed these maps. So if you can imagine, just anywhere you want to, start drawing these little circles. So, and it's really in this area A. Just imagine 100 little circles that they say, hey, that spot right there can't meet that. That spot right there can't meet it. That spot right there can't meet it. Hundreds of them, okay? Because of that map, when Penny Ryle applied on our behalf for part of that $50 million first go around, because of the way that funding mechanism was worded, they looked at this and said, well, you don't have enough area that needs service. You've just got these little bitty pockets. So they kicked ours application out. Where if you get into Trigg County or Christian County, they got huge areas that have nothing. And so the applications they had put in for parts of Trigg, parts of Todd, all of Todd County and Christian County, those applications stayed in. But Logan County's got kicked out because, really, it got kicked out because we're in a better position because of EPB and Logan Telephone.
Well,
And
basically, when it boiled down to it, Penny Ryle said actually we were the only county that would probably get 100% coverage.
Yeah.
So they technically
Now, the
applied
counties they're
for
working
part of that
in
money, for
because
part of that
of lack of
300
money.
million, which 50 of it's been released, and, well, 100's been released, but there's 200 left. So we are going to apply, if we move forward and hire these two internet service providers, we will let them apply for the 200 million when it's available. Right now, you can't even apply. So that's yet to be determined. So
So
our
worst case scenario, we spend 90% of our ARPA funds and we have 100% coverage.
Yes.
Best case scenario, we get a little bit of help and might not spend but half.
Exactly.
best case scenario, we get it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we,
All right, let's
that's
roll.
what we're gonna grind for. So the final, I didn't know if y'all saw that yesterday or day before, the final rules on how you can spend your ARPA money came out. So that's out, final rules, so you can read that. Everything's, as far as broadband, is just like we expect.
It's the same,
We can use all of our money for broadband. So Jason is 100% correct. Our worst case scenario, we spend
$4.5 million.
$4.5 million of our 5.2,
Then we have 800.
and then we would
Oh,
have
700.
we would have 700,000 left to spend somewhere else. But anyhow, our hopes is that either through the combination of any of all, we could get the NTI grant. Highly unlikely. That, you know, I got thousands % more application than they got money. So who knows what they're going to do there? So we'll either get a really low percentage or nothing at all. And
And the electric plant board made it very clear when we met with them that that $1 million of what they need from us is probably less than that. It's probably, I mean, it could be 700,000 or 800,000 because they're going to do the work themselves, and they've already got some of the material, and so as far as in that area B, I think there were 600 plus households that would be served. Area A was somewhere around 1,500. So I would say those 600 homes would be a year or less.
Yeah. So is there any negotiation? I mean, I know they had some type of ROI in mind of, you know, what the return on their investment would be.
I didn't straight out ask them, you know, hey, would you do this for 3 million, not 3.5? I didn't do that. And what's complicating that for even happen, first of all, you're dealing with the manager, Alan Gates. He's the manager of the Pennywell co-op, and the co-op kind of did, you know, Pennywell's really ultra conservative. I think y'all know that, which is a good thing. But they did he told us at their last board meeting, they agreed in all their service area that they will allocate dollar for dollar whatever you spend. So if Todd County wants to reach in their pocket and grab $500,000 for broadband development, Pennywell's board they're gonna match it dollar for dollar, and they'll go as far as that goes. You know, hey, you want $1 million worth of broadband, we'll get in there and put $1 million worth of broadband.
Uniquely for Logan County is that we are already in a decent position with broadband coverage. You know, we're probably around 90%. With the $3.5 million on area A, that's going to be they say that's going to cover us 100%. So we'll and I think Penny Ryle's plan was around 3 years for deployment. They have some backbone cable they've got to run, get in place first, and that'll supposed to be done by the end of this year. Then they can start developing to the homes. But I mean, right now is the time for us to get this done because economically, in the way that these people that work from home, that's become more of a common thing since COVID. I've talked to some people that can't work from home well because their internet is so bad. So this is our chance to be a step ahead of a lot of other areas, to know a plan of when we're going to be 100% covered, fiber to home, broadband internet. That would be huge for Logan County, huge win, and I mean, we just need to move forward with it.
I'm on board as long as it's 100% coverage. I don't want to skip a spot.
That's
right.
100%, I'm going to vote yes.
Yeah.
And we do want to kind of make our motion that we start the negotiating and contract working phase, because One thing that we still don't know, they've told me that they don't know of any reason why this would be a problem, but I know some things that we do, that we apply for federal and state funding on. If you've already entered into a contract, then they won't allow you to receive that funding because you've already agreed, entered in a contract. They are telling us that that's not going to be the case because, you know, they're just waiting to write the rules. But we do want to make sure that that's correct with our state representatives that, hey, we plan on entering in this contract so that they can start ordering material, start ordering cabling, so they can start hiring contractors, you know. But, you know, realistically for Pennyrile, it's probably going to be a year before any money or any substantial amount of money would be going to them. Now, electric plant board would be a lot sooner because they already have that engineer, they already have the backbone. They literally need to order cable and start stringing it and running it, you know. So they would be asking for money a lot quicker than that. But we'll be careful when we sign that contract and make sure we don't mess up the possibility. Because, again, my ultimate goal would be to get other funding so we can use our ARPA funds for something else. Okay. But
We don't want to miss the ARPA fund deadline though, and them spring it out either though.
that's right.
What action do we need to do today?
Well, I think Tyler was asking for a recommendation there to enter into a contract with, or award Area B to Electric Plant Board and Area A to Pennyrile. Vice versa, from Area A to Pennyrile, Area B to Electric Plant Board, and allow the judge and the committee to work on the contracts and the negotiations of how that contract is worded. But
Okay, Pennyrile, any of these contracts have to go through Compass before we can sign any of them. And at some point, I guess we're gonna have to be willing to make that dollar commitment. You know, and it might have to be listed in the contract.
that's right, and I would expect that, and, you know, but it'd take us 30 days to get that contract up, but, you know, the main thing is today is that we're going to award Area A to Pennyrile and Area B to the Electric Plant Board, so they can be moving forward. Those guidelines are already out, and there was no conflict. There was
What I don't understand,
about ARPA funds, which you can and can't use.
like out on our road, Logan Telephone put all that stuff on the ground.
It is. You're in the green area.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's already. The Area A is this white area.
Oh, that's the area we talking about then?
And then Area B is this purple plus this
Oh, okay.
yellow. We're only talking. So take the green.
I got
out.
you. Okay.
Green's already served.
Okay, I think to say.
Yeah, it's already served.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I got you then.
Just trying to get the rest of the county.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're very fortunate and blessed, whether people know it or not, to have Logan Telephone that did the fiber to home as well as Electric Plant Board. We're leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of communities on the internet today. But once we get this in place, we'll be even more leaps and bounds ahead of other counties.
And then it'll bring more people wanting to build a house in the county maybe.
So to clarify, you know, it'd be my recommendation that we award Area A to, first thing is to recognize the change in the map. You know, that those highlighted areas are considered Area B, and that Area A would be awarded to Pennyrile Electric, and Area B, including the newly highlighted spots there, be considered B, and that be awarded to the Electric Plant Board. And that you allow the judge and county attorney and the committee, just to be working on the contracts and the language and Compass as well, but, you know.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, the way I understood the motion, we're awarding Area A to electric, to the Penarol, and Area B to the electric plant board,
Yes, sir.
and allow the committee, the judge, and the county judge to work on the contracts and agreements, and then at some point, we'll have to bring those contracts back for approval.
And you need to, in that motion, you need to acknowledge the change in, the little change in the map. That
Yeah.
Those highlighted areas are, those 3 little bitty pockets are considered B.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, questions? We got a motion and a second. Or any comments? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, next item of business, one of the things that they're talking about the language is that, for that money they're gonna put out this year for broadband, that we, didn't discuss in that, I think for that, person to be applied, it's gonna eliminate the order off auction. It's gonna be 100 up and 100 down is the language that they're looking at that bill, where with that $50 million we applied for, or Penarol applied for us for economic development. The order off auction, they used those numbers, and a lot of Logan County was covered. And I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. They're working closely with the co-ops and different things and getting that language in that new bill.
Yeah, and that's gonna be tough too with, I hope they get it, but you know, AT&T's lobbyists and Comcast lobbyists, they don't want that to happen, you know, so if y'all get an opportunity to send an email or make a phone call to your representatives at the state level, that is highly recommended that they put that language that, you know, that the speeds are 100 up and 100 down, because that's what's hindering us from servicing these 2 areas. Not so much Area B, but really Area A, is because AT&T says, well, we've got that covered, you know.
Yeah.
And they
Which we know they don't.
don't.
Yeah.
You might stand on top of one rock, on top of one tractor, you know, on top of the grain elevator, and get your phone out and get 25 up, 25 or 30 down, but that's the only place. And then they say, okay, we got it. We got this. So it's all census blocks. These are blocks, you know, so just imagine, you know, that they're, you know, quarter-mile blocks, or this tall, this long. If they can stand anywhere in that block and get that 25 up and 30 down, it's considered covered. Then they can move to the next block, you know. Well, if you sitting down at the bottom of the hill, you're hosed.
For Penarol, y'all may or may not have saw this in the proposal, but their proposed rate structure for a 200 megabits per second internet package is $59.95, and 500 meg is $79.95, and 1 gig is $99.95. And they said that's going to be the same across their entire service area, whether it's Todd County, Logan County, Christian, it's the same price. And for what the people in those areas are getting today, that's a heck of a deal. So and electric plant boards will be the same prices as they have today on their website, which is comparison.
Okay, y'all ready to move on?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Pointing that out, that is a good point.
Okay, next item of business is to approve adoption of a resolution for fiscal year 22 authorizing and designating of IDA. Adoption of a resolution of the Logan County Fiscal Court designating the Logan County Industrial Development Authority Incorporated special purpose government entity to receive Tennessee Valley Authority TVA funds under the Regional Development Agency Assistance Program, and authorizing the filing of the Regional Development Agency Assistance Program RADA proposed grant application for up to $153,846.15 and RADA funds with the Department of Local Government, and authorizing the designation of Logan Industrial Development Authority and special purpose government entity to act as the authorized correspondent for the project. And this is dealing with TVA in lieu of tax money that the state receives, and it's for economic development funding.
If nobody has any questions about it, I think y'all probably understand how that works. It's a new program that TBA got approved, that instead of sending taxes to the state, they will send it to us. So, I put that, was there any change in that resolution, Judge, from last year, or does it read the same?
It's a little bit different resolution, Thomas, but what it is, last year we were required to do different things, and this year they just were requiring this one resolution.
Okay, all right.
Understanding we got.
Okay. I put that in a form of a motion to authorize and designation of the IDA resolution for Logan County.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
It's $153,846.13. That's what it is, dollar-wise.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second. Questions? And the only place this money can be used after the situation with the cold severance money in different counties was supposed to be used for this. It's designated, it's got to be used for industrial development, or you either use it in the proper forms or you don't get it. So, okay, y'all ready to vote? Let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Bright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes. Okay, next item of business is to approve the contract and agreement with emergency management. This contract and agreement is dealing with funding we get from the state for some of the expenses on emergency management assistance program grant cycle. The program specific amounts have been loaded through a SharePoint portal and appear in your county web code tracker as of December 9th, 2021. In addition, the 2021 guidance documents are attached to this communication. But this is money we receive for our emergency management.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Bright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes. Okay, next item of business. The airport out here got a grant through the state, and we funded the airport. We paid that payment today of our contribution of $19,000. We put $10,000 in there for a possible grant match. So this grant was received from the state, and they've sent 3 invoices totaling $5,046.95. But we need to approve the county for the county portion of a local grant match of $10,000 to the Russellville Logan County Airport T-Hangar Rehabilitation Project, and the release payment for the first, second, and third invoice totaling $5,046.95.
Put that in form of a motion.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and seconds. Any questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes. Okay, next item of business is to discuss South Central Kentucky Drug Task Force cumulative report. Y'all should have a copy there in front of you. What this boiled down to, and Karen went over this several times, is the contributions that each entity makes, the city of Franklin, Simpson County, the city of Russellville, and our contribution is in this total along with the grant totals. If you look, the total revenue received, it was $3,004,751.07. What had been expenditure since '04 and '05 was $2,995,039.70, which left a cumulative balance of $9,711.37. And since this was designated to the South Central Kentucky Drug Task Force, I make a motion that, well, I don't make a motion, I can't, but I recommend that we turn this money over to Simpson County.
I'll put that in form of a motion.
I don't know what we're doing again. I couldn't understand it well. Okay, but what are we doing? I mean, I heard it, but I didn't understand it.
Thomas, you there closer, maybe you can.
So this is just the remaining balance that's in control at Logan County's fund of the revenue that has come in.
Right, I got that.
Minus the expenditures that's gone out since 2004 to December 31st, 2021. The difference is $9,711.37.
To the good.
To the good, but the judge is recommending that we take that $9,711.37 and turn that over to Simpson County, who is now hosting the drug task force.
And it takes it off of our books and turns it over to Simpson County's books.
And we don't have to worry about it then. That's right. All right.
Okay, but the motion needs to include turning that figure over to.
Yeah, I got it then.
Turning that figure over.
That's what I heard you say, Simpson County. I couldn't get all that. Okay, I got it.
Second.
Are we turning that money over as of today, or are we gonna wait till the next bill payment time?
On this night, we'll wait till the next bill paying time. We've turned over today, if y'all noticed in your
Financial summary.
bill list, money we received at, because of the state, I guess it was the state, changing their year end and beginning. They sent us a fifth quarter payment that we took what we had to pay out of it, and we're sending that to Simpson County too. But that was in the day bill list.
I guess the only question I've got, Judge, because I guess I probably only 2/3 understand that whole transaction to begin with, but when they originally left Logan County and went to Simpson County, didn't we relinquish all those funds at that time?
We did the funds that were actually being held in their bank account.
And that was the bank account that was actually held by Jackie at the DTF, that we didn't actually control anyway. These funds are funds that were deposited into our general fund, and that Karen has gone back and balanced out dollar for dollar revenue versus expenditure. So it was two different sets of funds.
What we turned over to them, like she said, was their money, what they considered.
That was like the funds that were in their drug fund and things of that nature out at the DTF that the auditor said technically was Logan County dollars, but the fiscal court was not in control of that bank account at the time.
Just, but I don't want to major on a minor, but, I just don't know what those funds were intended for. I'm not trying to cheat Simpson County or the Drug Task Force out of a dime, but if those funds were intended for administrative costs, that was bared by Logan County, then I am against turning that $9,700 over. Just to simply say, this is what we took in, and this is what we spent, and this is what's left, so let's give it away.
And your thought process is 100% correct.
I'm not for that, but if you tell me that we have kept the funds that were intended to offset our administrative costs, and this is what's left after doing that, then I'm happy to do so, but otherwise I'm not.
We did get a break in our contribution while they were here because we furnished a building and different things, Thomas, but I don't think that amounted to $2,500 a year.
Like I said, I don't know, if that's what y'all want to do, let's do it, but I just kind of
I
always like,
understand what you,
I always like to know what and where this money come from, what it was intended for.
Well, this
Again,
money-
I'm not trying to, I don't know if Jackie's still here or not. If it's their money, I want them to have it, but if it was money that was to offset the light bill for the 10, 20 years that we hosted them, I don't know why we're giving it back. I think it should just be simply put back into our general fund.
What account, where's it at right now?
It's in our general fund.
It's in the
That's where
general
it's
fund.
currently at. So, it's just, that was our revenue, that was our expenditure. This is the difference between the two. Do you want to leave it in our general fund, or do you want to give it to Simpson County?
Did somebody request this money?
No,
Oh, let's keep.
all right, what's the auditor?
but we need to put it to an end, one way or the other.
I'm happy to put it to an end.
The auditor said
Not
that
necessarily
Give it away?
ready to give it away.
money over.
I paid half that road on it.
Okay. I might need to rescind my motion then. I thought this was just to balance the books out, to get them completely off.
Just get rid of it all.
You can make a general ledger.
No, it's not, it's
Entry.
gonna stay, it's not to get it off of our books, we're balanced out, that's not really the purpose. We did talk to the auditors, and they told us that it was essentially up to the fiscal court as to whether or not we kept it or turned it over to Simpson County.
So whose money is it?
Logan County's.
Is it
What
the
it
drug task
is-
force?
What it is, it's actually I expect the grant has just about been expenditured every year, wasn't it? And basically, this is a pool of money that Simpson County, the city of Franklin, the city of Russell, and Logan County has contributed toward the operations of the Drug Task Force. And some of this, the earlier year, Butler County was involved in it.
Huh?
Huh?
I don't think it's our money, I think it's the drug task force money. Some of it might be ours that we.
Well, we have to, the building they were in all these years, we're gonna have to spend some money on making that not a drug task force type building. I don't know if that's,
But what the judge is saying is we got a little bit of a discount each year for hosting them on all what we put into.
$2,500.
So 2,500, if we had them for, that was our, which is still not enough of a discount to make it work.
yeah.
But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, this money is really not. Some of it is, like a little portion of it.
Like I said, it ain't no big deal. I hate to make the comment, but I don't care if it's a penny or if it's $1 million. I have to, in my mind, understand where it came from and why we're doing it. Because I always look at that in the mentality that I have to offer constituents an explanation. And I couldn't do that without making that comment.
I'm glad you made the comment, and I'm good with, I'm still good with my second on Barry's motion.
That's fine, let's roll.
You sending your motion?
No, I'm gonna leave it. I think, like you said,
I think it's more theirs than it is ours. So that's
And we're still in partnership with them. They are, yeah. And this will go, how will this go to Simpson County for Drug Task Force, so, correct?
Do what?
That was my
This-
next question.
Will this money go for Drug Task Force, or will it go to Simpson County
It'll
General Fund?
it'll be the, well, designated, drug task force money, cumulative money.
And if it goes to the Drug Task Force, I'm still good with my motion.
So that's contingency, as long as it goes to where.
Well,
Of course, you don't know where it's going.
you don't know where it's going.
You make it out
That's-
check out.
It's easy to do, you just.
Let's roll call.
Yeah, let's go. Vote it down if y'all don't like it. I ain't no-
Okay, your motion, what now?
I make a motion that we send this 9,700, whatever it was, to Simpson County, and it goes to the Drug Task Force, because we're still in partners with them. And it balances our books out that we're zero. That's my motion.
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second.
I'm good with that, by the way. I understand why we did it, and I just had to ask.
Okay, questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
No,
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes. Motion passed, I think.
yes.
Okay, next item of business is to acknowledge the audit for the Logan County Sheriff's settlement for 2020 taxes, beginning May 16th of 2020 through April the 15th of 2021.
Somebody put a whole lot of work into that. It's not going nowhere.
Yeah, you're right.
Steve, did you have any deficiencies? Any negative, thing on the audit? I mean, I'm not seeing it, I just,
they tell us everything's good.
okay. Move to acknowledge the Logan County Sheriff's 2020 tax audit.
Second?
Okay, got a motion and a second. Are there any questions? Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
no, yes.
Bolden,
You still mad about the other thing, ain't you? Yeah, it's all right. Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
At least you ain't swearing about it, so it ain't too bad.
Okay, Phil, you want to come back to item number 1?
We looked at these as best we could, and there's no representative here from either company. But the things that stick out to me the most is that one company wants to give us 28% of the profit. Now, who determines the profit?
Correct.
They do, okay? The other company gives us 40% of the sales. So that means that what the item sells for, then we will get 40% of that.
Percent of it.
So,
Was the Tiger the 28%?
Tiger was the 28%, Kelwell is the 40%.
And going through them
And that
prices.
sounds good, but that really don't mean nothing. If you're selling a product, widget A, at $2, and it has a 75% profit margin, you take 75% of $2 and times that times 28, and that tells you how much money it is. If that same widget is sold at 50 cents, and you get 40% of that, you're getting 20 cents.
I think from
That
Phil's,
means nothing. You know, I understand the formula, but you would have to put the product next to the same product to see if that is a better deal or not. You would assume so, but like if you go right here, and I don't have Caldwell's thing, but if you go right here to the page,
I think it's 23 that's one that's got the pricing on it.
okay, right there. So if
21.
you just took Ivory soap, 3.1 ounces, $1.79. You can take $1.79 but it doesn't tell you what the profit is. You said 28% of the profit? Yeah, so I have no idea what the profit is. Is that a 50% profit, or is
that's what
that?
he's saying. You never know.
I don't know.
But you know at 40% of the gross, you know what you're getting.
But do we know how much a bar of Ivory soap is?
But I would say that the,
Price list on all that.
Okay, yeah, let's do that. That would help.
That's what I was wondering.
so the thing with the sales is
Right,
that
exactly. What
it's
barrier
gonna
do
be
you
a
see?
market thing, so if a bar of soap's $2, probably it's gonna be close to $2 from somebody else. I mean,
Exactly.
generally, you know. So I like the 40, I think I like the 40% sales model better than the.
Sales versus profit, who determines the profit of this company?
Yeah, they can say that bar of soap cost them $1.60. I mean,
Yeah.
40% of 20 cents.
Yeah.
So that was,
That's the biggest thing that stuck out to me was that.
Just as long as the prices are not too far out of line, I'm good with that. It's be simpler.
I'm looking at some of it seems high, some of it's cheap.
I can't find
It's all about the same price.
Can you pick out something down there and just tell me, and I'll run over here and see if I can find it?
I can't, no, it's baby powder. Baby powder. See, this is 15 ounces. And their baby powder.
It's 4 ounces.
It's 4 ounces, so you ain't never gonna line those up, are you? That's Chinese arithmetic. So I'm gonna quit worrying about that. One question I do have, does Caldwell offer the kiosks?
Yes.
Will your booking system speak, I don't know the right language, speak to that kiosk and automatically, you know what I'm saying? Like Tiger right now.
Does it integrate?
Integrate, there you go. Tiger right now, when you book somebody, it's in Tiger system. Somebody literally right after booking could walk up and deposit $20 in their account.
Yes.
Kelwell do the same
Yeah.
thing? Same thing, okay.
And they both, Kelwell's got an online deal where you can put money in.
Right.
In
On a credit card from home.
Let me see.
You don't have to come to-
No, the other one.
Phil's got it.
What do you need, Barry?
The license sheet.
How long a period are they talking about, Phil?
I couldn't find that in there, honestly, so I thought we could do it for a year with an option to renew in another year.
I think that's always the best way to do it.
What's that?
To do it year to year, up to 3 years.
What about AA batteries? You see AA batteries? Do we want? I can't find nothing.
Man, I'm looking for candy bars, man.
Okay.
They're all $2.10.
Okay.
There's a soda pop on there somewhere, I'm sure.
Do they have like ham sandwiches?
What about a French pair of underwear? Is that on there?
Got some barbecue sauce,
I mean, come on.
Tootsie Roll Pops, butterscotch candy, Grandma's chocolate chip cookies. I mean, they got everything.
I'm gonna go down there to the jail and
The
get
other,
me some.
the other thing too, while y'all looking at the candy bars and stuff, Kelwell is,
Kelwell's cheaper.
The other one is out of, Jonesboro, Arkansas. So,
If it's your recommendation, I'm fine with it.
I'm sorry. What was your question?
And they do our food.
Yeah, and we know they're a good company, they do our food, that's right.
All right.
Well,
Their prices it's cheaper with Caldwell than Tiger, a couple of things that I thought, so I'm good with your recommendation.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, like I said.
Okay, well, you recommending Caldwell then?
I'm recommending Caldwell based off of the 40% of the sales rather than 28% of the profit, which I have no way of knowing what the profit would be. They would determine the profit.
Yeah.
So, on the sales, I can look down through here, like on this list, and see if they sold it for whatever, and get 40% of that.
That's right.
So that would be my recommendation.
They treated us good on the food.
Only if they got Snickers. They got Snickers.
I couldn't find it.
Snickers? What'd you say?
Only if they got Snickers.
All right, well,
I can put that in as a request.
I'll put it into a form of a motion to go with Jailer's recommendation on using Caldwell for our commissary services.
I'll second it.
Are you planning to be a resident there, Sam?
No.
And with a
Phil will bring it.
1-year contract with a 1-year renewal. Option. With the option for the and 30-day out, I guess. Did she find the Baby Ruth's or the Snickers?
I just don't want to deprive anybody of Snickers.
With a 1-and-1. You second that?
Yeah, I second it, yeah.
Okay, the motion is to accept Caldwell's bid by the recommendation of Jailer with a 1-year agreement and 1-year option is what you said.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And we had a second by Tyler. Is there any other discussion, questions, or anything need to be held about this?
I guess they'll roll in and out where they won't miss a hitch probably.
Right.
One will end one day and start, the other one start back, okay.
All this candy bar talk's making me hungry, so.
I need a Snickers bar myself right
You look angry.
I'm angry.
Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
now. Yes.
Bolden,
Yes.
Chick,
Yes.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you,
Okay,
Phil.
next item of business is Logan County vaccination, testing, and face covering policy.
Do you want these?
And
well, I'm gonna need one of them. And I don't
I've
know where
got,
the other one
I've got the box and
Phil's got the other
He's
one.
got two. He's got two. Yeah, they can.
He, Janice is gonna need the Caldwell quote.
bid.
We only had one copy of it.
Do you need me to give you a copy or you got that?
we can make copies downstairs.
I'll make you a copy.
And we'll get you one as quick as we can, Phil.
If you want to go use my copier, if you want to make sure you have one before
You're
you
in a
leave.
hurry to get it, yeah.
I'm sorry? If you want to use my copier, you're welcome to.
Okay.
Or just let them get you one, however you want to
Do
do
you
it.
wanna do that and then that?
Just make sure to get it done for you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. Just say something to Wendell or Cynthia up front.
Okay, Joe, you want to kind of go over this?
I'm sure you all followed it to some degree. We had a meeting with the committee late last week, and a lot of this has to do with what we discussed at the meeting in December. We were preparing to be ready to be compliant by this week was what we were looking at after our last meeting. The Sixth Circuit dissolved the stay that had that kept this from having to be implemented. There were arguments heard at the Supreme Court last Friday, which we presumably were expecting to have had some sort of a decision by the Supreme Court as it relates to the continuation of the stay or not, pending their final decision. If any of you all follow that, the Supreme Court takes quite a long time to issue opinions, formal opinions, after arguments are heard. So this would be for, I guess, the time frame between now and whenever that were to come, probably sometime between May and October of this year. No ruling has come down on the stay, so technically this would not be mandatory at the moment. I wanted to provide you all with something that complied with what they needed, but also simplified it to where it was the bare minimum, because it felt like most of the court only wanted to pass this if it was something that we had to do mainly to avoid those OSHA penalties. I think we're at a point right now that if you all want to pass this to the next meeting, we could. Alternatively, if you all are agreeable that if we have to do this, this policy looks acceptable, I think you could approve it for purposes of complying. If at some point at a later date that becomes mandatory, meaning only after the Supreme Court makes a determination on a stay and the state and federal OSHA boards require that we have these in place. And so if those two things were not to happen, then no action would take on them. So
So we can make it contingent upon that it's not, a stay is not put back in.
Correct.
Because I mean, not obviously, but I don't agree with it, and it doesn't overcome the fact that, if we don't comply and we get fined by OSHA, which since we have over 100 employees, it would be a huge hit to our budget, being that it's $13,000 something per occurrence.
Mm-hmm.
So whether we like it or not, to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars, we're basically have no choice. The federal government has given us no choice on this OSHA regulation. Hopefully there'll be another stay put on it, but I know Joe's and the judge has worked on it quite a bit. Like I said, we did meet last week about it. None of us are happy about it on the personnel committee. That it's, we all agree. I think it's a government overreach, but to be good, we're here to take care of the Logan County's taxpayer dollars, and if we don't comply with this OSHA requirement, it will be a huge burden and hit to our budget, being that the fines are hefty. So, I don't think we have much of a choice, unfortunately.
If it stays in place, that would be, from being conservative with the county's money, that's the way I would view that. However you do it, whether we were to vote on just whether this would be appropriate to go in place, I guess kind of the benefit of that would be just to let people kind of see what is expected if this were to happen, and start collecting the information, and it might help Logan's office, because they would have the HR responsibilities, start adopting internal regulations or forms and stuff to comply. I think in terms of talking through with most of our either departments and or other elected offices, which are in a form of another set of departments, it'd also be helpful. I'll give Jailer Gregory a shout out here. He has been quite accommodating in providing us, if we do have to get to the testing point, of giving us an option to where at least we can take the burden of that test off our employees and do something, give them something for an option in-house to where that can be done. Also, I was appreciative to hear that the options that the jail has available, at least currently, are more non-invasive than a lot of the testing options that I had heard about leading up to, I guess, recent developments. So he would be agreeable to offer the free testing for anybody that had to, if we got to that point, with medical professionals that we contract with the jail, and a discrete place to get that done. But that would kind of allow them to start that process. Nothing about, I don't want anybody to feel forced that we have to do it today, but that's more just kind of the thoughts I'm having from your all's perspective. Hopefully we don't have to implement this, but if we do, so that whenever we get that started, we can try to have all the kinks worked out of it and make it as smooth as possible.
Yeah, we're obviously, we won't be, this is not a county thing. We're not going to be doing this if we don't have to. So I think, if it's easier on the judge's office to be prepared, or maybe for the jailer to be prepared for possible testing. If we go, we could, I would only vote for doing it today or pass it today, only with the contingency that this is only in effect if the OSHA regulation is in effect. But if there's a stay on it, obviously we immediately stop, you know. And this is only for a 6-month period as well, right? Every 6 months they go back and they decide.
That's my understanding. I guess I kind of somewhat don't know where the 6 months start because this has been a process.
Judge, what's your recommendation? Do you want us to?
I think it would be good to have it on the shelf and know that we could activate it at any time, unless the court wants to deal with a special call meeting. Now, we can deal with a special call meeting, but it would have to happen quickly.
Can we just do it contingent, like you were saying?
Yeah, I think we can do it contingent upon being forced to do it by OSHA.
Amanda, what do you think? Or you're going to be involved in some of this?
I am here to do whatever.
I guess what I would say
I mean,
is,
it's nothing that I want to do.
Yeah.
I think a horse is
Then if
already.
we don't want to do it, let's don't do it. I mean, I just don't like doing stuff if and when, and it's not like we're buying insurance. I think everybody is whistling the tune that they don't like this and they don't feel like it's right, but we're going to do something if something happens. I can't support that, you know. I understand we need to be prepared, and I think this document does prepare us. I've highlighted a couple of things that I wouldn't be voting on today anyway because I don't particularly like, just in their minor things, you know, so I wouldn't be voting yes for it anyway, even if the OSHA regulation went into effect, you know, 1st of next week. We just have to have another special call meeting. I know that there possibly could become a time that we are going to have to do this, and almost to a gun to my head will be the only way I will have to vote yes for that. But I am not in favor supporting moving forward in a direction on a what-if situation on something I don't support. It'd be different if it was a policy I supported. If I supported this policy and thought it was the right thing, we're talking about individual, personal health, and I am not going to vote yes on a what-if situation. I still think it's the right of someone to determine what's best for their health, up to and even, you know, asking for adjustments in their employment. You know, we're just living in that time. And, you know, some people get the luxury of working from home, and we've granted that, okay? I know Phil's made 100 adjustments in his department because of this, you know, and he's done an excellent job, and so is the sheriff's department. But, you know, I'm not voting to support something on a what if they trigger this. I'll deal with what if they trigger it when they trigger it.
I'm obviously, I think all of us are with you on everybody should have their own.
Well, I think when we do this and it hits, let's say it hits public news, I mean, I just think that's leverage. I just think that people would be able to say, well, Logan County is prepared. Okay, that's, you know, I'm just thinking about what the title of the headline would be. Yeah. You know, if I was Joe Simpson, Logan County magistrates are prepared to move forward. You know, to move forward with a policy that, I'm speaking for myself, I don't support. I'm not preparing for a policy I don't support, not at this time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't support it either.
Then
But at
but
at some point, you know, whether we like it or not, if it does stay in effect on that date that they made it law, and then we have to be prepared to be written up or whatever it happens for $13,000 something per occurrence, to where we're not following the guidelines. So to, you know, I don't support it. I don't like it. I don't agree with it, but I have to protect taxpayer dollars,
We got time to do that, is what I'm saying.
And if we got-
We
if
got
we got-
time
I
to do
actually
that.
hear
We
you
got-
too,
if we got
saying
time-
actually that you all agree, so, I mean, I think we're all, I think
Yeah.
Thomas is, what I hear you saying is you're likely willing to entertain it when there's no other choice to, but you don't want to do it now, so you would prefer a
Because it
special,
makes it look like
a
I'm
special called
supporting it.
meeting.
And I don't support
And
it.
and I'm fine with that. Here, part of the issue, though, is just in terms of terminology, technically, it is in effect, but the stay could come, and then no penalties are going to come. So I think we can push it to the next court meeting. I think there's value in knowing that if push comes to shove, that policy or some variation of it could be something you and the rest of the court could vote on, because that does help anybody in the government start to develop what our processes are and know what people would do if that, what we would be looking at if that comes down the pipe from the Supreme Court. But I don't actually hear you all disagreeing. I just hear Thomas saying he doesn't want to vote on it in advance, and he would rather do it on
I'm
a
okay
special
with
called
that.
meeting or at the next called meeting.
I'm okay with that. That's fine with me. I don't want to do it either, you know?
A lot of this, I mean, our insurance carrier and the insurance carrier for most counties was pretty quick. Once this came down, you all need to start being prepared, because as this goes, unless the Supreme Court stays it, OSHA could start issuing these violations as quick as today. I think where it stands now, we're good, so that would give us to the next meeting, hopefully. If not, it was two deadlines. One had to do purely with masking,
This
but
one
in
says OSHA will not issue citations for non-compliance with any requirements before January 10th, and will not issue citations for non-compliance with the standard testing requirements
Yep.
before February 9th.
Yeah, so but it still was helpful to have this in place, because what that would mean, January 10th, everybody in the workforce, unless they had gotten proof of vaccine to HR, would have to start wearing a mask, because that was the date on that. And it also gave a window before when testing started, so it purely would have had to have been something relating to masking at this point. Potentially that will be pushed off, somewhat waiting on this decision, but I'm fine to have a special called meeting. I also recognize that you all have got a lot going on, and the more we can work through on these things and not talk about the same issues every court meeting sometime is valuable to your time. So I'm fine to do whatever. I just wanted to give you all that option, and I've said throughout, my goal as your attorney is to push this out until it's absolutely necessary to avoid thousands of dollar fines.
Only other thing, I mean, this, the testing was set up by the government to start February the 9th. And if this thing comes out of stave, that's gonna shorten that period. You know, it's gonna shorten that period, Thomas, of, when you gotta start complying, unless they stretch that time
They can
period.
make a ruling tomorrow, and y'all call me, I'll be in here to vote. Till then, I ain't voting. Or I'm
Well,
voting
and
no.
I'm not encouraging the vote, but,
I'm just not doing it.
we don't know what dates will be on here when we pass it.
Yeah.
I just want to make the court aware that if we don't pass it today, we don't know what date we're dealing with. Right now, we know the date we're dealing with.
I understand what we're doing, and I just, for me personally, I just can't put a document in place on a what-if basis when it's a document or a policy that I don't agree with. I'll just have to wait until they say your deadline's January the 12th at 12 a.m. and starting the 13th, you're paying $13,500 fine, and then you'll get me to vote.
Well, we just have a call meeting that morning for the deadline.
Gotta have 24-hour
I
notice.
just, I think that's,
Yeah, I think we should.
I make a motion to table this until the next meeting.
Second.
The decision on it,
Yeah, the decision on it.
Okay, what if we have to have a call meeting?
Well, then that's to be determined.
Don't call me, call.
What'd you say, 24-hour notice? Is that what you said, Judge? 24-hour notice?
We should have more wiggle room than that. I guess I would just hope that if anybody has any issues that would need to be addressed, at least let us know in terms of the process by which they would have to go about creating forms and processes for complying if we have to do that, just so we're prepared, but obviously not vote on any of the formal, none of that is really addressed in there anyway, so.
Okay, we got a motion, and do we have a second?
Yes.
Tyler and Jason.
Okay. Any more discussion? I guess one question I got, Joe, would it be proper or improper to go ahead and put this out, the departments, let them start looking at it?
I mean, they can, it's a proposed document, and it's actually very much taken from stuff that was sent out by Keiko, so, I mean, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I tried to,
Because I think we, you know, I've already met I've already met with most of my employees.
I sent a copy of it to Scotty, Phil, and Steve, and Mary would need one, but she doesn't have as large of a meeting department on a daily basis, and actually she might have some exemptions on hers anyway that might make it less applicable, but.
Okay. Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, we need to go in closed session this morning under KRS 61.810(1)C, discussion and proposal of pending legalization.
Sure.
I have no idea.
So moved, Judge.
Okay.
Second?
Second. Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport.
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Harper,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Say,
Logan,
Jason.
Yes.
Chick.
See, Judge.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay, you gotta start it again.
That started.
Okay, do we have a motion for, allowing the judge to sign this waiver and, going ahead and, retaining, this law firm for our Harper use?
Motion.
Second.
So it's a motion to allow Judge Chick to sign a conflict of waiver with Sites and Harbison, PLLC.
If you can give me can I get a copy of that?
Yeah, you can have this one. And I guess the waiver is just acknowledging that this attorney firm represents a pharmaceutical company that's involved in the opioid settlement, and this same company would be representing our and reviewing our how we distribute our ARPA funds. And being there are two different matters and two different personnels and more than likely two different locations that are dealing with this, we do not see that that is a conflict of interest. So therefore, we're allowing Judge Chick to sign that conflict of waiver.
Yes, sir. Should have been a motion, I guess.
Sure, right.
Is that your motion, Tyler?
Yes.
That's my second.
Absolutely.
Okay, so then
Who seconded it?
Barry.
Okay, get that motion second then, is there any discussion? Not hearing any, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes. Okay, is there any post agenda?
I make a motion with Joe.
Do you want us to note the other one just so that,
Do what?
do you want to note the other one that the court did decide they would like?
Oh, okay.
So I don't think it needs a vote, but just to report that the court did state they prefer to have
Can you email it to me?
separately retained bond counsel.
What do you mean, what's he
in the
saying is
event that we
incorrect?
choose to go
Talking about
forward
the ARPA
with the
guidelines?
pilot program proposed by Silicon Ranch today. And exercise the clause in the contract which provides for our legal fees to be paid by this agreement.
Okay, y'all, one of you want to make a motion?
Your turn, Mr. Collins.
Yeah, you want to make a motion for that, for Joe's thing,
Yeah.
or just want to document it?
I think just document.
Just document it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
I meant to get with you on the wording. I didn't
That's
get all
fine.
that. I'm sorry.
okay. Now it's yours, Mr. Robert.
All right, I make a motion with Joe.
I'll second that.
Okay, let's have roll call.
Davenport,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Kyle,
Yes.
Golden,
Yes.
Chick.
Yes.
See y'all later.
Be good.